Dude, we got on our first season. We're both on there. We literally fell in love. We just like, I hung out with her like she was like, there was such a spark, and it just cost me the game. I lost focus on the show.
That was Big Brother 3?
Yeah, and they voted me out, and I got bounced. They invited me back.
Did you care?
Yes, I was hurt. Yeah, I wanted to win, obviously.
You lost the game, but
I
you
got
won
the girl.
life.
I got the girl. But here's the kicker of the story. They invite me back 2 years later for another go in All-Stars. I go in solo. I'm a little more focused. I shipped the whole thing. I went back and won it.
You crushed that one, too.
So like one season I met my wife, and then one season I won the game. That's the scoop. But going through that, like, it just unlocked this, like, I learned who I was. I went through that, and I was a hero on the show. I was a villain. I was liked. I was disliked. And then you're so vulnerable, and you come out of that as a young 20-year-old, and you go through that, and you heal, and you move on with life. It's like, that's why I have this like self-confidence. It's like I've done these insane things that have just honed me and refined me. And like, bro, Big Brother's crazy, man. It's so insane. What a show.
When you think about your life and what you're doing from a professional standpoint, do you think of yourself as an entertainer first, or do you think of yourself as a poker player first?
It's a mix. It started as an entertainer. But I've really, really gone after poker. Like, bro, I study so much. I have the most amazing coaches. Like, I'm not the top players in the world. Like, you know, the top skill guys like a Jason Kuhn, man, to get to that level is insane. But I'm gonna. Is
that your goal? Is that what you want?
I'm a dog, bro. I feel good in the no limit hold'em streets, man. Like, I punt a ton or whatever, but I put a lot of time into this game, and like I feel very good about where I've gotten. And when I started, bro, I was such a fish. Like, everybody told me to quit. I made my content. I was the worst player ever. 100% I was the worst player. And that, like, inspired me. I was like...
What were your leaks back then?
Oh, everything.
Everything? Just...
Where do you want me to start?
I mean, were you good at anything?
No.
You must have been.
The only thing I was good at was determination and resilience. Okay. And just sticking with it and figuring it out. And that's the only thing, like...
Stick-with-itness is important.
It's the most important.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome now. We've got the winner of the sit and go. We've now got the cash stream. This is going to be interesting. It's like the lineup from Monday. So we're ready. Looking forward to it. And now we are on Twitch and YouTube. Are we on Facey? No, just Twitch and YouTube. Enjoy. Cash until 1 a.m. 12:30 in the house. The last hand on the live stream, which means a 30-minute delay. 1 a.m. on the stream, and then we're back in tomorrow when we have to set an alarm. 11 a.m. Tomorrow we are live tomorrow for day 2 of the main at 11. Who we got, Jay? Who do you know?
I see Vinny, I see almost Jamie Lee Smits there after his high roller final table yesterday.
You know what that means, don't you? You know who's coming in to chat.
Oh no. Eastie's going to be in the building, I take it.
No, the fanboy is on his way.
So Vinny bets flop and Morale goes for the float with the King 10. The 2 overcards. Does turn a gut shot. Faced with the second barrel here. Be surprised if we saw any more chips go in the middle. Yeah, so David in seat 6 I can see as well. Ben Marragad's in seat 7. Obviously Morale in the pot now in 9. Only unknown to me, Tower, is the man in seat 4. Seems like a new face. Haven't seen him before.
Okay. Won't be an online qualifier because that's not a thing for this event. So you said you could tell that Smith was a cash game player
Yep.
when he was in the tournament the other day in the high roller. Do you think you'll instantly be able to tell with his bet sizing and the cash that how it's transformed to the?
It weren't necessarily bet sizing yesterday, Tal, on the final table. What it was from Smith, he opened a few hands that in terms of chip EV is going to make us money, but because of the stack distribution yesterday at the final table, they wouldn't be winning opens. So I just think that was the problem, a few loose opens into chip leader stacks, which should have been folds, which we would open in a cash game, which would be winning long term, but I think that's all it was, just recognising a few looser opens, not accounting for ICM. Let's see how he gets on in the cash game.
And as we said, with Smith at the table, we were expecting some guest commentary. He come running in, and I mean straight down the M6, sweat's dripping off him. East is in the building.
How are we doing, guys?
All good.
There we go.
Just been watching you for 2.5 hours.
No.
Oh, God, it's brutal, isn't it?
She was, I'll be honest, yeah, she was putting you in some spots. Have you watched any of it
I
back?
never had anything. And then as soon as I've got a pair and I call, she's got a third pair. And then I fold and she's bluffing, and I call and she's, you know.
The Queen 7 of clubs, when you had top pair, she had bottom pair.
I got way better hands than Queen 7, unfortunately, in that spot to call with, and I just hoped that. It was also very hard to be bluffing, as well. Unfortunately, she's very good and found a little creative one. But I'm not ashamed to say that she is a big favourite in that format. If she was sitting there with me, different story. Different story, guys.
If this is like 100 no limit, 6 max online, no chance.
Oh, I mean, she's definitely, obviously, I'm just the edge sort of favours each way, you know. But fair play, so she definitely deserves to win. Definitely deserves to win.
Jim Marlowe's playing a private game. He's got the live stream on the big telly.
Lovely.
Good on you. Who won the sit and go says poker bod? It was Vivi Saliba. And she said it would be an event in Spain that she would be using the package for.
Nice. So we've got a great lineup for you tonight, guys. Did start 5:10, but the guys have agreed straight away to change it to 5:10:25. Same lineup as Monday night, except for 2 players. Obviously, we saw a couple of 20k pots on Monday, and we're hoping for more of the same again here tonight. Ryan Mandara has been switched with Smith, and I'm trying to think who the other one was on the table the other night.
Who's C9?
That's Morel. He played the other night. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
So, have you ever seen Umesh and Vinny play before, Nick?
I have no knowledge of any of the players on the table
You
except one.
You're in
You
for a
are
treat.
in for a treat.
You're in for a treat.
Am I really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Umesh and Vinny are brothers. Love the game. Always put on a show for us.
Good stuff.
If you had a bleep button and you were streaming,
Yes.
you might need it. Because you'll be shouting, "What the? What's that?"
Yeah, you know me well.
So King do suited here for David. Squeezes it up over these limps, and Ben with the 4's going to make the call. Don't mind this from Ben. He's played loads with Vinny and Umesh, and don't really have too many limp raises, these two, so probably aware that he is going to get to see a flop as long as Morel doesn't wake up with a hand that he wants to 3-bet. Morel's in with a Queen 5 suited, and Umesh calls with the 8-5 off, and Vinny on the button, not going to be folding 10-6 off. We know this man, he likes to see flops, he likes to get amongst it.
I see. What a treat.
Unbelievable game. This is going to be
Absolutely.
a great 3 hours, trust me. You'll
I
love
think
this.
I think I'm in the wrong seat. I think I need to go into seat 9.
So 750 in the middle. And the Queen 5 of Morel flopping bottom 2 pair here. Not much else for anyone.
It should be a pretty simple one here. No reason for anyone to be sticking around. But I'm hearing
Goes for the C-bet out of position into the field with the King do suited.
I mean, he's got a little bit going on. There's a few backdoors.
He is the pre-flop aggressor. He is going to have the strongest hands on this board. But I think with Vinny and Umesh, we're going to tone that C-bet frequency down.
That seems fair. Does our friend know them, or does he?
Yeah. David is from Coventry. Vinny and Umesh are just from outside Coventry, so they played a lot together. Ben in seat 7, David, Vinny, Umesh, and Constantine, who's just actually sat down in 8, would have all played together lots and lots, because they're all from Cov or close to Cov and used to playing.
Are these the V pips or the chip? Like
Stack distributions.
I was gonna
Yeah.
Where's Mandara?
I'm not sure where
Is
Ryan
he playing the main? Has he bagged the main?
He might still be in bed towel because when I was when I'd just come down from breakfast at the hotel this morning, he was walking in with this man actually, Smith. He was walking in. He was walking into the hotel with Smith, and this was about, I'd say, 7-8 in the morning, so he might still be in bed.
Okay.
He might still be in bed, Ryan.
If you didn't watch the sit and go 888, we'll have it on social media tomorrow. Ben Foster had the Ben Foster. He had the mulligan. He was out first, and then they allowed him back in. First person to get eliminated was allowed back in, and he finished 4th.
Just like I mentioned, I know it's a poker stream, but you can't stop them. The boys from Tottenham.
No.
5 points clear. Top of
No
the
way.
league.
Have they won?
it's very easy to win when.
Hold on a minute. Your mob got lucky against us the other week.
Excuse me.
Do you want me to sit in the middle?
You mean the most egregious VAR error that's ever been? Okay,
Would you like me to sit in the middle?
no, I want to chuck him out. Had enough already.
So Jamie Lee with the ace queen raises to 125. Umesh has limped the king 9 from gun. Constantine's in with the ace jack, and Umesh goes for the limp call.
You well versed in cash, Jay?
I don't really play much Hold'em cash these days. It's all Hold'em and all Omaha and mixed games, but I do dabble every now and again when there's a good game on. Back to the Hold'em streets, but basically 5-6 years ago, that's all I was playing, just Hold'em.
How many days do you stream?
Do 3 or 4, depends on the week. Yeah.
Tournaments and cash, or just mainly tournaments?
Only cash.
Only cash.
yeah.
Only
Awesome.
cash. Hello, Lower Grass, how are we? Yeah, Lower Grass is a PLO 8 specialist.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there we go.
I haven't caught up with this action, but we seem to be seeing a turn which is drilled for Constantine as he makes the nuts. Top pair as well for Umesh, and Jamie has still got that second pair with a gut shot.
I can't see Umesh folding this hand at any point once he makes top pair, so looks like Constantine going to win a tasty pot.
Really, you can't fold here?
You can.
Yeah, but I mean, he can't.
Umesh, well, I've just seen too much of him on the streams over the last 18 months, and I don't think there's many river cards where he'll be letting this one go,
Fair
in my
enough.
opinion.
Jamie's got a pretty easy fold after the call from Umesh for sure. And the only way that Umesh can not lose money here is with a chop. So let's see if he can find it.
A chop?
How do we shop?
How do we chop, Nick?
I'm going to join
sorry.
I'm going to join your live stream. I cannot wait.
A chop, it would be. I'll tell you what the chop would be.
6 cards, run it twice.
5 of hearts on the river. for a dead deck.
Yeah.
So backdoor flush draw does complete. Got the ace of diamonds for a bit of
He said
insurance.
97% on his equity on the screen.
That's because Jamie hadn't folded yet and
Oh,
had
I
ace
see.
queen and could obviously chop with him. So goes for a bet. A flush does get here. But as I say, Umesh with top pair. See if he can get away from it now.
You can do it, Umesh. You've got an absolutely awful hand. Good luck.
Yes. Makes the fold. First big pot going to Constantine, 2.5k going his way.
Will Umesh reload or will he sit with his little...
Well, the other cash game night, he pulled up, I think it was 1k, 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 then he pulled up 2k and spanned the 2k into 20 grand.
Okay.
So,
So he's one of the players that likes to do it off
yeah,
and then buy back in.
just buying short.
Fair enough. That's reasonable. Keeps it more fun as well. Look how handsome Smith is.
Good evening, guys. It's Andy Ailson. I've just been reinstated back into Grosvenor over earnings, but still can't get back online. Can you tell me what we need to be done? Are they two different companies?
Tell you what
If
would
you
be.
got back in live, but you're still barred online at Grosvenor, is it email Grosvenor Poker and I'm guessing I would email the helpline. I do think, and I think you get back in. Are you allowed to vape at poker tables? Depending on the club rules. Most clubs are now starting to ban vaping to smoking areas.
Yeah.
But it is an in-house rule on what you want to do.
And yes, Palace did just score, and it would be the absolute funniest thing
I
in the entire
know.
world.
I would actually walk out. I'd just go.
I'd walk with you. I wouldn't leave your side. I would literally.
I actually made sure I said it when it was in stoppage time.
Yeah.
Oh mate, it would be so beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen anything so beautiful in my life if Palace equalised.
Yeah. It's been ruled out for a handball.
Oh, lovely.
There you go. That's what Rob Smith says.
I could have really done with that as well.
What, Palace goal?
Yeah, because fantasy Premier League
Oh,
stuff.
I've got a lot of people with Spurs defenders. You're up
Well,
against
my Spurs defender had to be benched this week because he's injured. So
a doggy.
So 3 hours of cash taking us to 1 a.m. The free roll password won't work anymore, I don't think.
I don't know if there's late reg on the free roll. If there is, you can still get in. It's like a 9:30. Free roll password is cash game.
Oh yeah, 9:30. So cash game. There we go. Cheers, $90. So it is still open. Cash game.
I'm surprised we didn't see you on the rail yesterday for the high roller when Smith was on the
I was
final
there.
table.
I was here. I was like here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't worry, mate. I was there. You think I'm missing a rail
Yeah, I know.
for Smith? Come on, you know me way better than that.
So Vinny with the king 9 off from +2 raises to 75 and David 10-7 suited out the way. Over to Ben.
Ben's here for it, isn't he? Has Ben? He's just raised with the Jack 9 offsuit. I'm in love with this game.
He's free bet the Jack 9 off versus Vinny's open.
It should work, but
It won't work.
So if it doesn't, if he knows, he should know it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So why is he doing that then?
I think he's happy to go post in position versus Vinny and play a big pot, even with this mediocre holding. Like Ben and Vinny are probably the two at the table that have played the most with each other.
It's not mediocre. It's absolute trash in these positions. But off to a flop we go, which is incredibly dry, and that favours Ben. Should go check, which it does, and we should see a c-bet, which we don't, which is extremely odd to me.
Odd to me as well. I thought we might see c-bet as well there from Ben, but I'm pretty sure we'll see delayed c-bet now.
It seems like a really good opportunity on the turn to be betting. I mean, if you're going to 3-bet this hand and not c-bet that flop, then this is a turn you're definitely going to be stabbing at. And we do see a float from Vinny, who calls the 175. It was a small bet, and I'm just not in love with it. But it does have the best hand right now, and they will know better than me the dynamic, I guess. 5 of hearts on the river, and Jack high will not win at showdown. Will he try to win another way?
Quick heart check. Yeah, we got a heart.
He's going to have to bluff regardless of hearts because we've got Jack high.
And we beat some. I know we don't beat 4-5, 4 deuce.
We
all that
do
stuff
not.
Anymore.
We
Get
do
that,
not
that gets
win.
there, which really can have.
No, this has to be bluffed. But it's got to feel really bad bluffing someone that probably doesn't have many inclinations to fold. But if we're going to get here with Jack high, we're going to have to fire. We are loading the gun. Oh, wow.
Gives up. And King High going to be good for Vinny, and Ben's going to hate this when he sees it.
And they're not showing.
His last aggressor to show, so Ben's got to show the Jack 9 off. That's great advert for the table. The rest of the players getting to see them 2 hands.
I'm a bit confused, lads. I like the heart, but if you're going to 3-bet Jack 9 offsuit, and you're going to check back the flop, and you're going to bet small on the turn, I think checking back the river... Let's put it this way. If you're going to check back that river, I don't like 3-betting pre-flop. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I guess it's fair. Jim Marlowe, we're joined by Nick Eastwood, Easty, on YouTube, Twitch,
Where
streamer
does the
for
22
888.
come from?
Well, that's a great question.
You lost in the final twos?
No, it's a football... Yeah, I know, it's annoying.
Well, it wasn't the score Liverpool Spurs finished a couple of weeks back, was it?
wasn't.
I missed the last 10
And
minutes,
that's
so
what
I'm
the
not
score
sure.
is tonight.
It was actually... Do you want to know the answer, or would you like to just
No,
say
I
the
know
Mick?
the answer.
It was my favourite Liverpool player when I was a kid. His number was 22.
22 when you were a kid.
Any guesses?
Florence Cinema Pongel.
How old are
Pongol
you?
and no. 32.
You're 32, so are we talking 20 years ago?
Teenager. Talking teenager years.
Number 22 for Liverpool.
And he was an absolute beast.
Number 22.
He was fantastic. Definitely not Robbie Fowler. I was not a teenager when Robbie Fowler was
No,
good.
Robbie Fowler was number 9.
And he was indeed number 9. Well, Manaman. Right.
Manaman was 11.
We'll leave it in the air for everyone to guess. It seems like it might be something that people want to do.
Milan Barros.
Number 5. Great player though. Champions League winner.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have had any of them.
We could get this all night.
Patrick Berger.
I mean, you started it, mate.
Ben goes for 3-bet again, this time with pocket 5s. And Jamie Lee, after seeing the Jack 9 off 3-bet, is just going to have a slam dunk 4-bet here.
Oh, Smith's woken up.
Oi, oi.
He's got the kings.
He's faced with a cold 4 in front of him. A situation that don't happen very often.
Well, he's got 2 options here, really. I don't think he's going to want to call knowing the kind of players that are behind him. So he's either got an option of a very small raise, knowing that the 2 players behind him are a little bit deeper. So it's sort of like a click
Like
5 bet.
1700 or
Yeah.
something.
Or he could jam. But I think he will click it. I think he will make it around 1800 here. But what a spot. Wow. What a spot this is for Smith.
Do we not think that once Jamie puts in a third of his stack that Jamie has committed himself?
He's going to jam. He's going to jam. And I think that that is true,
Yeah.
but I wondered whether Smith might be tempted to let something go on behind him. And I do think that jam is completely fine. Umesh has got Jack 6 offsuit and has decided to put the rest of his chips in. And I guess I'll get my coat.
Why are you going anywhere? You're not watching this game. And there we go, Jamie's in as well. So 7k pot, didn't take long. And Smith in great shape, 50% equity, just shy off 3-way in a 7.1k pot.
Yeah.
Nearly
And they're talking about maybe murring it multiple times. I'm not sure that's something we're doing, but Kings for Smith in the, as you said, pretty big lead. Although when you look at the percentages, it's not as comfortable as you'd like it to be.
Even the Jack 6 off, how's that got 20% here?
He's a favourite not to win. Just barely. And they're negotiating something. Do we have any?
Once or twice, that's all they'll negotiate for the stream table. It will be run once, run twice, that's it.
I think we'll be running this one. We're just waiting here to find out how many times we'll be running this board, and then Smith will have an opportunity to rake in a sizable pot to kick things off today.
I think it's only once.
Oh my goodness. Ace and a queen for Jamie, who takes a commanding lead.
King no good for Smith because Umesh got the Jack.
Jack's
so
good though. Let's have a Jack on the turn.
Oh, Jack on the turn. There's your wish.
I'm not saying I've got any control over that, guys. And they're all dead to chops, and there's no chop, and Smith will rake in a 7k pot.
Going twice. Hold your
Oh, it
horses,
is.
Nick.
Well,
Going twice.
I've got no audio,
Running it
guys.
twice.
Okay, he's wasted an ace, which is good news for Smith, obviously. But there is still some possibilities. Jack.
Where's the 6 on the turn or the river for Umesh?
It will need to be either a 6 or an ace or a jack, or Smith will be taking down this pot. That's a
a great
fantastic
card,
card
yeah.
for Smith, who is
Takes-
now only needing an ace or a jack fading.
And does.
Wowzers.
7.1k pot going the way of Schmidt, wins both up to 9.4k. Great start for him.
Yeah, and just an utterly spectacular spot to be in, really. Can't imagine there's many better games to wake up with kings. There are some games, you know, even live games today, where you wake up in kings in that spot and you're not overwhelmed with joy because they tend to have aces quite a lot in cold 4-bet pots. But
You don't expect the jack 6 off in there, do you? That's
Well-
one hand that you don't expect in there. But it's Umesh, it's the way he likes to play. We've seen plenty of Umesh on the stream over the last 18 months. And he has his style and he sticks with it.
and that's totally fine with us as willing spectators.
We don't want to watch single raise pots, heads up, c-bet fold. We don't want to
Those are
see...
interesting. I like those as well, though. They're kind of my cup of tea. I thought I'd come in, here, first time I've done some tournament stuff with you guys that I've really enjoyed, but I've not been able to bring any sort of remote expertise, which I thought I'd have here, and then I've got people going on in Jack's exhausted. So I think I might be surplus to requirements.
Welcome to Vinny's stream. John Honorisa.
Not John Honorisa. He was number 3.
Still thinking. I am still thinking.
I'll leave it with you. You got 3 hours. What a treat for Smith to kick things off. He's got to feel pretty good. He likes to tower his chips. Like I played against him quite a bit, and he likes to tower his chips in haphazard manners. It's extremely tilting, especially when they're yours. I once played a home game with him actually, with 5 of my friends, or maybe 6. And at the end of the night, it turned out that the only person that hadn't won was Smith, and he just had to transfer everyone money at the end of the evening. So he's a good lad. He's good for the game. It's good to see him in the mix.
How are we doing, Ewan? Ewan McNicholas in the chat. Good evening.
Evening, Ewan. Hope things are well.
Doubt it's Vlad Smitzer. I doubt he's been here.
How you doing, Stain Pan? Good to see you. It's a private in-joke, that one. Mascherano. No, it's not Mascherano.
22 for
Diddy
the
Haman.
90s.
Not
It's
Haman.
not Deep Haman.
It's not necessarily from the 90s.
Well, 20,
Well,
yeah.
he said teens. I'm
20,
thinking.
yeah.
I'm
You're
thinking.
thinking the
I'm thinking
noughties.
early. Yeah, I'm thinking early 2000s. That's
Early
where.
2000s. That's when you were good at football trivia.
Yeah, 2002 World Cup, South Korea, Japan. That's my mastermind subject.
Carragher is 23. And we do have a hand of poker going on, guys, but not a lot of connection with the board. And Guillermo will most of the time find some way of winning this hand. Should do, anyway. Go on then, Logos. I think it's a bit early for you, though, unfortunately. You need a little bit... How you doing, Pat? Good to see you, mate. It looks like Ace King will be taking this down. And there are the chip totals. Smith with nearly a quarter of the chips in play. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes.
Up to 9.5k. And got himself a little cup of water.
Emil Heskey.
Number 10. Number 10, number 9. Number 8. No, he's number 8. I'm confused. Heskey was just as I was really getting into my phones. Number 22.
9. Who played number 22 for Liverpool in the early noughties?
You're thinking 06, 07. I mean, you could easily cheat in the chat, to be fair.
Obviously.
I'm got a lot of respect for the people that aren't cheating.
Dudek was one, weren't he? He weren't one of them funky
Stevie
kick
G
numbers.
was number 8 and 17. Smeets no, Dirk Count no, although he's a legend. Philip Degen no. EC's favourite little player is a wee lad, a little.
Xabi Alonso.
I did love Xabi Alonso, but he was number 14.
Why do you know everyone's numbers? You asked me the Spurs team now. I
I'm a
wouldn't
complete
even.
and total loser, and I'm proud of it. Yep, Tony B. It's not spelt it right, but is Momo Sissoko, number 22.
There we go.
Mohamed Sissoko.
Wouldn't have got that.
What a guy.
could have been here for 3 hours, would not have got it.
Yeah.
Ace King for Vinny. He's got a legitimate hold in, makes it 3-2-5, and Constantine back to him with a King 10 suited, and this deep versus Vinny. Do you expect him to pill with position?
I'm not really sure this is the kind of game for folding King 10 suited.
Definitely not.
He would have folded it had he known that Morrow's got a couple of low spades, but there's still some left in the deck. And we are going to go to a flop. Maybe Morrow's interested as well. I'm still gauging the players here.
First time we saw Morel was on Monday night. First time I've ever seen him on cash train. Likes to get involved. Not too many aggressive lines, but lots of calling. Does make the call, and Umesh getting a nice price now. He won't be folding with position.
Nice price is kind of reserved for hands like 7-6 suited or 5-4 suited. Nice price has become, you know, inversed when you have King 9 off. There's a lot of King 9 off going on tonight, guys. I'm not sure I'm in love with it. Queen high board. And a little up and down for Morrow.
Vinny here. 2 overcards, does have the King of Diamonds, but out of position to 3 players. I'd personally be checking, but Vinny is going to go for the bet. Does actually have the best hand in the form of A-side.
It won't win it now, but with that diamond, I don't mind the C-bet multi-way. I would probably prefer a check. But with that diamond, it does give you a lot of potential. Like on a jack or a 10, you have a lot of potential. Obviously, a diamond, you can block a lot of potential flushes your opponents can have. So I think I don't mind it at all. And obviously, we won't be losing Moral just yet. Umesh, I'm very much hoping we do lose. Just can't bear to watch it any further. This King 9 off with no backdoor, no nothing. Well, actually, there is a backdoor, but it's not very pretty one. 5 on the turn will pair Moral and give him the lead, actually.
Yeah, but Vinny, not fussed about that. Reaches for chips. 20% on the flop. Looks like going slightly bigger here on the turn.
Yeah, Moral will not be thrilled, but at the same time, definitely can't be going anywhere on this turn. We have a pair, so now we can healthily assume a 5 or a 7 has got a very, very decent chance of being good. And also, we could have the best hand, and we have a straight draw. So, definitely no folding to be done, and certainly no raising. We wouldn't want to not see the river when we can just see the river. And that is exactly what we're going to do here. So,
I want to see brick and see if Vinny shoves it. I just want to see like an offsuit jack, an offsuit 10.
well, a diamond, I imagine he definitely will follow through, but as you've told me a lot about this fella, seems like he's not really bothered. That is an interesting card. That may entice Vinny into bluffing. It looks like it will, and a straight is going to have to be called.
Yeah, snap call from Morel, and Vinny says you're good, and the straight. And Morel, another 7.2k pot. Do you get this online every other round? 300 big blind pots. Does this happen much in your?
Honestly, like I know we've said a lot of things about these players so far. That I actually have a lot of time for, like a great deal of time for. Vinny with the King of Diamonds, without a diamond, is an absolute torch. But with the King of Diamonds, there are a lot of continues that Moral has on the turn that include the King of Diamonds that can make flushes, such as King Queen of Diamonds, Ace, King Jack of Diamonds. They're never going to fold the turn, things like this. So I have a lot of time for the follow through. I don't think that once you get there, the turn barrel, yeah, you can go either way, but I think it's okay. Once you get to that river, there really is no other option than firing it off. You really are looking, other than Ace and the King, of course, you're looking for a diamond. And it's just unfortunate for Vinny on this occasion that Moral did wake up with. It was the most interesting card in the deck, really, because it gave them both what they needed to pile money into the middle, which is really what the fans are here for. Money piled into the middle.
That's about right. Especially on the stream that includes Vinny and Umesh, Jamie Lee.
Yeah, but honestly, I am a huge fan of Vinny's playing that spot.
How does Spit get himself in this game? Did he just? It's not what you know, it's who you know.
It's who you know, Jay. Yeah. Look, I was floating with the idea of being involved in this game, and then the stakes were floated to me, and then I swiftly floated away.
Like it's 5, 10, 25, but like in a couple of, it'll be playing like 50, 100
Yeah,
in a couple of hours for
Which,
sure.
as many people will know, is way too big for me, but not too big for the button in this hand, Mr. Smith Trivedi. And he's got the King 8 of spades. This is actually quite a famous hand for Smith. So he might have had a little chuckle to himself when he opened this up. I remember a hand history he told me once when he'd been at the Vic, or it might have been the Hippodrome actually. He was playing some pretty high stakes, and he said there was like limpers and then an ISO, and then he was like, I made it 400 with, and I went, oh, aces. He went, no, King 8 of spades.
He's got a flop.
And he's got a flop, but she won't mind here. The ace high board obviously favouring him and having the flush draw.
Look at this value donk from Vinny here.
Wow.
Donks the King Jack.
And honestly, Smith will not mind this at all. Certainly won't be raising because getting 3-bet is super dicey. Just going to see a turn, which he does. The turn pairs the board, which is certainly not the card that he would have been after. I'm not sure what Vinny's plan will be going to the turn. Definitely has a hand that can show down by river. Smith, I imagine, will check this behind.
Yeah, I imagine too. Oh, he's going to go
Wow.
for a bet.
Honestly, Smith may think this is some sort of mergy kind of value, sort of build the pot against some hands that he might have that are lower flush draws, maybe just some sticky whatever hands that Vinny might have. Smith's very like naturally good at figuring out what's going on. He does get the fold this time, which he will definitely not mind, obviously, as having the worst hand in that situation. But I'll be interested to ask him about him later, like what his plan was on the river. I imagine he was just shutting it down. Slum's asking to get in the game. Can't help you, mate. I don't know what you're talking about. I'd have no power here. Insert Lord of the Rings meme.
I don't know, Needleman. Good evening to you. Just tuned in to watch the stream. Towers treble tomorrow. Yep, we can all do some money on 888 Sport.
Is there an informed Towers treble?
Do you know the Towers treble story?
I don't know the Towers
So
treble
on stream, every Saturday Tower puts out a treble for the football, and I've been doing this nearly 6 years now. We've had it come in twice, and the second time was last leg at Leeds, but you don't want to know the money that's been done on Towers treble.
Or is it just 3 results?
Just a treble? That's all he's got to get. 3 results, and in 6
Can you
years,
pick any games you want?
any games you want.
Well,
And
yeah,
you-
but I don't go for 1 to 4, 1 to 5, not
okay.
like Jay does. Do
Oh, that's fine.
you want to tell them about your trouble the week before?
My treble the week before. What the?
Man City, Man United, Liverpool, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, all lost.
just under even money treble. They all lost.
Who did we lose to?
You lost Wolves. Was it Wolves you were playing? The game. It was the same weekend City lost, or did City?
We
lose
did.
to
We
Wolves?
only lost to you this year. We only lost to Spurs. We've not lost any other games. We drew with Brighton.
Might have been the draw.
It has
Might
to be
have been the
Brighton
draw,
because
yeah.
we've won the rest of our games, apart from the one we got cheated in. Actually, both the games we didn't win, we got cheated in actually. Because in the Brighton game, they should have had a red card. Blatant red card. He's about to stick ball in the net, isn't he, Jay? You know all about corruption, wouldn't you? Anyway, we got a hand of poker, and we got 6 high for Ben. Vinny's gone for the value bet with. I mean, honestly, Vinny is. I've been sold stories, but I like what Vinny's doing. To me, when Vinny bets this turn with King 8, this many ways, he's basically saying he knows that people know that he doesn't have a hand very often, and he can therefore value bet hands that normal players would not be able to value bet, and being able to recognise that is actually quite impressive, honestly. And obviously now he has a very clear value bet, and the only way that Ben can lose any more money here is if he finds a raise in the river, which he doesn't. And he lets it go. Did have a diamond, but you know, when ranges are this wide, and Vinny hates folding this much, probably just wise to let it go.
Yeah, it was that weekend because Man U lost to Palace, City lost to Wolves, and it must have been Liverpool must have drew a Brighton that weekend. I'm sure all 3 lost. It might not have been Liverpool that was in the bet tower. It might not have been Liverpool.
We've only lost 1 game.
Because I said to Travel, imagine the price on the reverse. I sent him the message. I went, imagine the price on the reverse of these three.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Chelsea, I think. I think it might have been
was it?
Chelsea.
Oh,
I think
right.
it might have
Money
been
on
Chelsea.
Well, they deserved it.
I think it might have been Chelsea.
You got Chelsea next week. How you feeling?
Confident.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you home to Chelsea?
I don't actually know.
Are we
I think we
streaming?
should be. We're at home to Fulham.
Every time you're on TV this year, we're streaming.
No, because you wouldn't have put money on Liverpool to beat Spurs, would you?
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah. So it's not that one, and we've only lost one game. So
It wasn't. Anyway, Towers Treble is back tomorrow. The value will be there.
Yeah, at home.
Looking forward to it.
that would be some atmosphere.
Because
I tell you.
We're on stream tomorrow from 11. Did you bag for day 2?
What do you think?
Are you buying into day 2?
I'll ask the bosses. they'll tell me tomorrow. No, probably not. I had well, everyone else is playing now, so I imagine if I wanted to, but you know what, guys, I'd so much rather be here with
Yeah,
you.
of course.
So much rather be here with
You don't get to watch a game like this very often.
No, exactly. This is I've been asking for this for a while as well. So if I don't turn up and play a tournament instead, it's unlikely to happen again for me. You know.
A 5-way limp pot here to the flop.
Not a lot doing.
Queen 9 high. Actually, the best hand here. I know we can't see a mush's hand, but
Fine commentator in the making, that Eastie boy. Thank you very much, whoever's behind the 888poker TV account today. You're too kind. Well, actually, appropriately kind. Liverpool won last night. We did. It was a very impressive performance from young Ryan Gravenberch. You watched him last night?
I haven't watched any Europa League
I
this
don't
year.
know how that boy's not had a chance before. God, he looks something. He's not quite Szoboszlai levels of excitement, but he looks a good player.
The guest is Nick Eastwood in Eastie 22.
How are we doing, Ian?
And the game will run all night. This will probably still be running at 8 in the morning, but the stream cuts at 1 because we start at 11 AM tomorrow. Full day coverage for day 2.
Indeed.
So the stream will go, the game will go longer?
Yep, it will carry on.
Smith will be there. You won't be able to peel him off that chair. I'll probably come in the morning for my duties and he'll still be there. Queen on the river for Constantine makes a straight. We don't know what Amesh has, but we can probably safely assume, beyond most reasonable doubt, that it's not as good as a straight.
Especially in a limp pot, like all the boats. The hands that make boats, most of them are going to be raising pre.
Yeah, Quanza has been quietly impressive in. He's played some Prem games. He's played some Europa League games. I'm really enjoying actually the Europa League this year. I know it's a bit of a cope, but
At least you're in it.
I'm liking it because it's giving a lot of the young guys some time to play. Imesh does go for the call on the river, and I imagine if he's only calling, then he can't have a better hand than straight. And Constantine will take this one down. Yeah, I've been enjoying the Europa League because we're pretty much fully rotating, and we're seeing a lot of the guys that wouldn't get minutes usually get a lot of minutes. Obviously, there's a lot of advantages for you where you get to plan a whole week and rest.
I know, yeah.
That's huge as well. And when we went after City in 13-14, that was the only reason we were close because we don't have any Europe.
Yeah.
And we had Suarez. So there's good parts and bad parts to it. I think given your situation now, you'd rather be in the situation you are.
Yeah, of course,
Sure.
yeah.
And your squad's obviously not as deep. You're 1 or 2 injuries away from being in big trouble, I think.
Yeah,
Probably.
potentially.
You know, if you
Especially I think the Van der Ven or Romero, what they've got going now, the last like 6-7 games together, they just look like
they
such a
look
good
great,
match
but it's
together.
more the drop off, I think. Like who's Eric Dyer? What's going on there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't know.
So it's a huge drop off.
Yeah, of course.
Hope you're enjoying the poker/football hybrid tonight.
Absolutely. The cash will keep them entertained, that's for sure.
And just
And
between-
yourself. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much. Smith keeping it tight. King 6 offsuit, no good. He said he's absolutely knackered today, and that probably
Like I said,
can explain a lot.
I saw him as I was just about to go for breakfast at the hotel this morning.
Yeah, and I can tell you he was not going for breakfast. He was going to his bed. How was football with Vivi today? It was incredibly fun, really. Ben had come up with a really good idea. I should probably shut up because the mesh is all in. We'll get back to that, Nettie. Hold the thought. The mesh all in with a far better hand than I imagine anyone expects. Ace King offsuit. Morel's got his little 7-5 suited buggy again, you know. He's a big fan of that hand. Don't know if it's worth 725 quid.
30
But
bigs.
with Vinny in there, and has he got? No, he's no position, so I do prefer a fold. But if you had position here in this situation, I wouldn't mind flicking it in position. But he does decide to let go of the hand, which I think is definitely prudent. And we will have a good old-fashioned flip. I thought this was a cash game stream. Why are we flipping? We're supposed to be 300 big blinds deep, overbetting the flop, overbetting the turn, and jamming the river. That's what we're supposed to be doing. But no, we're all in.
So the two brothers.
Right, in. Who flips best?
Who does flip this?
I'm going to go with Vinny.
I'm going to go with the mesh because he's got 54% equity. So now I'm going to go with the mesh. Is that right? Oh no, Vinny's clear ahead. No diamonds as well for the mesh, and there is a diamond for Vinny. So any diamond is a really good card. 6 outs. I imagine we're running this one.
I'm guessing, yeah. Be surprised that they went twice or.
No Barry, no King.
Yeah, just the once.
And Vinny scoops, and the bag comes out. What a game. What a lovely... Just what time to be alive, boys. I'm not sure about the timeline of Spurs being 5 points clear at the top of the league, but other than that, what a life.
It's a good time to be alive for a Spurs fan.
He was a West Brom
Yeah,
fan
you
6
actually
months
missed. I
ago.
kicked off on stream when we played Diabolic. I can't. Who was we playing? And we lost. We played
Anybody.
that. And I said on stream, I'm done. I'm supporting West Brom now. I'm a West Brom fan.
Last time I saw you, it was when you lost 5. You conceded 5 in 25 minutes
Against
to
Newcastle. Oh god, yeah.
That was. I got in the booth and I got my fair share of needles in that day. That was enjoyable.
I'd still take top 4 now though. If someone offered us top 4 and that's it, I think I'd
Life's
take
too
it.
short. I think you've just got to go for it. You're the only team with a week between games.
Like we just ain't got the squad depth, in my opinion.
I agree with you,
Like,
but if you had Europe, you don't have Europe, and you don't have Carabao Cup because you bottled that. So, you know, I honestly think it's a pretty reasonable spot for you to have a really proper, imaginative mood in that camp as well.
yeah, of course, yeah.
Vinny peels the 7-6 suited as we get an open from Guillermo. He's got ace king again. Ben, I imagine, would like to see 3 additional cards at the very least with the 8-5 suited. Constantine not so much. And a fold from Mole in the big blind. So we will go 3. Oh no, we got more blinds, haven't we, guys? Sorry, I'm used to those boring games with 2 blinds. Ace deuce through mesh, which is
Change for 2k. Find the squeezer mesh.
find the folder mesh, please.
Never find a fold.
Mesh is coming along, and Jamie has got 10-9 off, a pretty good price, but not the greatest hand multi-way. Makes a lot of pairs that are very dicey to navigate. Is this a squeeze? This is one of the spiciest squeezes I have seen in a long time. And these players are very deep.
It's just really Guillermo that we're worried about. Like, we know Vinny, everyone else flatting, not going to have a strong hand in this game. No one's ever trapping a big hand pre. They're just going to free bet because the free bet's always getting called. So maybe just thinking he needs to get through the first customer. But then Vinny, once he puts 150 in, is he really folding for another 500?
No, I don't think so. And also, I mean, and for that reason, in Guillermo's shoes, I prefer a click. I don't love a jam because it's a little bit too much. But I would prefer a click purely because you don't want to let this go 4-way, and it will loads. So you probably have the best hand in this sort of game, and you want to knock out players. You want to be at least heads up. So this is a bit big. Having said that, Jamie's 3-bet is a little bit small. You can see Vinny just loathes.
Honestly, don't write him off. Like, I expect him to fold, but I wouldn't be surprised if he made the call.
I think he's let it go. I think he said fold, so.
Actually, gets out of there. He's trying to have a side bet with Ben. His hand versus Ben's. You missed it at the start. At the start, they done high card for button, and Vinny and Ben had a side bet on whose card was higher than the other. Vinny got a 3, Ben got a deuce.
Oh, wow.
Sees Vinny get a 3, counting his money. Oh, they are going to have a side bet on their hands.
So, this is getting a little bit ridiculous now. Unless this is Hollywood, this is utterly insane from Jamie, and I'm a huge fan. This has to be folded. If it had been clicks back, which is what I was expecting to see, then maybe there's a world where you can peel here a little bit deeper. But with the SPR being literally like 0.7, if he calls, it's like, what do you really want to see? You know, you've got 10-9 offsuit. You should never have been there in the first place. We appreciate that you were, but it's time to go.
Yeah, so Vinny wants to run it for the 7-6 of hearts. He wants some side bets.
And of course, as this is the stream game and we are keeping everyone happy, we'll run it. You know, it's that kind of player when they don't want to fold 7-6 suited for £1,800, and then they have to see the flop afterwards just to make sure.
10-9 squeeze didn't work for Jamie.
Oh, go on then.
I'm fine, thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, wonderful. Ice creams, ice creams.
I mean, there's really not many better forms of entertainment with an ice cream than
Carnage
This
cash action.
Absolutely.
And to be honest with you, Nick, this is actually kind of mellow at the moment. I'll be honest, like, when we've usually got this lineup, it's fireworks straight from the off every hand. This is actually kind of
we've got the
kind of
curveball.
small at the moment.
We've got Smith curveball in there. Aces.
Ace king then aces. That's not fair.
Absolutely not.
So we need to go in there and sort this out.
Then he's in with the ace 9 off. Calls the 75. Constantine definitely going to be peeling deuces on the button. We can win a huge pot with flop a set.
I'd honestly much rather go just in this game way bigger with this hand. We know how much everyone hates folding.
Yep. We don't
You
need
know.
to. We can throw theory out
Yeah.
the window with our opening sizes. It's just
Yeah, and
we can be unbalanced.
there's so many bad things that can happen. This is one of them. When you open to 75 in this kind of game, you go 4-way, which you don't want, obviously. And you just get more money in the pot quicker. You know, you don't have to worry. I mean, this is a great flop, obviously. Umesh is going to have top pair and be pretty happy.
And the mesh goes for the 1-2-5, leading to Guillermo here.
Love this.
Yeah, that's it. Just a call.
Yeah,
And the
so-
aces.
Absolutely love this play. With, like, kings, queens, definitely want to start raising, protect your hand. Aces just need so little protection on this board. You're either so far ahead or really far behind. And even on the cards that you're worried about, like a 10, they're pretty easy getaways. I have no idea what this turn bet is.
It's 250
An
into
Umesh
700.
Spesh.
Umesh Spesh, like
No
it.
mess, smash.
And Guillermo now, I think, should still call. Especially with the ace of hearts, you're not as worried about that heart river. And you definitely want to let Umesh do Umesh things if you can. And I love this line. Apart from the pre-flop was a bit small, but since then, certainly redeemed themselves. Top boat.
No,
on the
we're
river.
praying Umesh has a 6.
Overkill. Yeah, he was absolutely dreading that outcome before, but now we'll be hoping. I hate to see that check. Now it's all about extraction. It's gonna be. He's gonna be thinking this is probably one of the worst cards actually. When you think about it, for getting value on, overcards were a lot of your opponent's call downs.
We're pretty sure what Umesh has as well. Once he takes this line in
Yeah.
Guillermo's head, he should just be having a 10 so often.
Nothing greedy here. Something in the region of £700.
Really go after a 10.
Here we go. 8 it is.
So it goes 2/3, 8 into 1200. And Umesh now met by 2 overcards after flopping top pair. How are we going to proceed?
I mean, I just want to say, Umesh beats precisely nothing.
8-9 suited.
8-9 suited. I don't know about that on the turn.
Well, we're not calling getting that price on the turn with a double gut shot against a person. If we hit, we can stack a 6.
Well, you also have reverse implied odds, so that's heaven.
I don't think Umesh is going to donk boats on flops, and maybe Queen 6 is the worry then. Yeah,
You also had 2 people behind him on the flop as well. You have to respect that as well. I like very much how they played that hand. Lots of good play going on. Vinny's been pretty impressing me. Smith keeping it snug.
He is now.
Hopefully comes out of his shell.
Can he get wild?
Oh yeah. I mean, he plays big games. This is a big game. He's very comfortable though, and he's certainly. I mean, we've seen his hands. He's not had anything, that we think, oh, what are you not playing that for, lad? He'll be feeling pretty good about where he's at right now, and he'll be in the mix. Don't you worry about that. You definitely don't want to be going on a stream game when you get in last minute and play only kings. That's not the image he wants for himself.
He opened King 8 suited, late position. 300 from Constantine. 100 straddle on from Vinny. Now Constantine makes it 300.
We're out. Here's 10.
It's quite awkward now with 100 straddle on tower. 33 effective. Could free bet this hand if we wanted to versus cut off open, but with stack size in question now, pot's getting big with 100 straddle on, just going to let it go and can get behind that from Morel. I think that's a tidy laydown. So Guillermo out the way, over to Vinny.
Vinny's in the mix.
With the 4 deuce. His brother won a 20k pot with this exact hand. I think the same combo as well, actually. It was the red offsuit 4 deuce. Umesh scooped the 20k pot with the other day.
This one's going to be tough. Typically a board for big bets, but I can see.
Vinny out the way. Cash game till 1 AM, and then day 2 action of the 888 festival. The main event runs Saturday, and we crown a champion sometime Sunday. The $500,000 guarantee is gone. There's no sweats anymore. That £510,000 in the prize pool.
That'll.
Day 2 buy-ins, there'll be 20, if not 25.
Who knows? Maybe I'll flick it. How many big blinds is that? 15? 12? What is it?
Don't 10 bigs.
Oh, no, not my forte.
Hard to make mistakes though. Off for 10 bigs, you can play perfectly. That's always the good thing.
I'll find a way. Well, that's a delightful ice cream. Thank you.
Yours, Tower. All 3 of them.
3? Who's got 3? Where have we got? I've only got 1. I'm just saving 2 for you. Knowing you don't eat it. Easter's got 1 actually.
Oh, I've dusted it off. Oh, you want to get? I mean, I don't put that near me. I might do it again. I'll be bounced off the walls. There's some potential for some rather large 5-figure pots here, gentlemen.
Yes, there are. And we will see one, I'm pretty sure.
And I, for one, am here for it. Ben, pocket 7s, opens it up to 150. We got the 50 straddle on in this hand.
Go, Ben. What's that?
Definitely a hand you want to be opening. Umesh has decided that Queen Deuce is definitely a hand you want to be flattened on the button.
What you'll see from Umesh, I think any 2 suited cards that are 40% of a flush, he'll be continuing with a lot of the time.
And
Sort
Smith,
of recognise that pattern.
Smith might have finally woken up for the day. Jack 9 of clubs, too pretty to let go, is dominated in club terms by Umesh. So many clubs will see Umesh with a little bit more money in front of him.
7-4-3, 2 clubs for the fans.
That would certainly be a fan flop. That is a 7. Oh, my
5,
word.
6, 7 is just as good.
It's a top set for Ben and Vinny with bottom 2. And it's check through.
Wow.
Ben checks it on the flop.
That deuce is going to keep everyone's money well and truly in the mix here. Honestly, even Smith could have floated this flop with the gut shot and the backdoor flush draw. It has checked through, and now on that deuce, that is a very fan-friendly deuce on the turn, as Ben and Vinny will almost certainly be piling money in now on the turn, without a shadow of a doubt. Ben needs to build this pot. I imagine Vinny's going to jam. But to be honest with you, I know this sounds ridiculous, and I know I can see the cards, but when Ben does this, after checking through the flop, 6-5 is not beating any value hands. I know in a normal game that's true. I don't know how true it is here, but
I think in this particular game, Ben might check flop with like aces, kings, and like do this on the turn. A lot of the time to go heads up to the river. I think he can still have like the aces and kings here as Ben.
clean brick in terms of our players' holdings. Maybe slightly concerning to Vinny. I like that Vinny didn't jam the turn. Like I said, I really, really don't think that there's many worse hands that Ben would raise a turn with here. That like multi-way on the turn. And 6-5 is just probably not performing well. I mean, it's super. The problem is it also just doesn't have a lot of equity against a lot of the good hands that Ben's going to have, like 8-9 and pocket 7s. And it looks like we're going to get a jam here, which I think is appropriate given it's only a pot size behind. All in.
Better 2.
All in, I think Ben announced, yeah.
Honestly, I'm impressed, like based on what you've told me about Vinny, that this has not been snapped off. He is clearly thinking along the same terms that I have been in this hand, although I can see the cards. That there just aren't hands that would do this that are worse than 6-5 of value. They just really are not. Aces, this is just way too thin. Maybe they do it on the turn, but the river to jam here, multi-way after Vinny bet calls the turn.
I agree. I think aces would go smaller on the river to bet fold, maybe like go 600-700 eke out values to bet fold. So I think it's spot on here, Nick. But very good, very difficult to be good here for Vinny. And what bluffs does Ben ever find here? Like who finds a bluff after checking back flop when the turn doesn't change a thing?
This would be an incredibly impressive fold from Vinny. I do think he should fold. Not just because I know he's dead, but I really don't think that this line is, even in this kind of game, there are certain lines that are incredibly overbluffed. This is not one of those lines. This is a check on the flop followed by someone that's bet into 3 players and then they've just raised, not at all bothered. It's just incredibly hard, one, to be bluffing. I would say that's probably impossible. I'm not really sure what it even looked like if Ben was bluffing here. And 2,
Pocket 4s.
I mean,
If we had to find one, pocket 4s.
But when you're stretched to pocket 4s, if that's your first go-to as a natural bluff, then you know it's underbluffed. You know that someone's not fine because they've got 2 players. They had 2 players behind them that checked through the flop as well. So this is just not beating value. There's very unclear what the bluffs would look like. I'm a really big fan of Vinny taking this long. 8-8 shouldn't raise the turn.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. 8-8 just calls turn.
Yeah.
And probably bets flop as well.
Yeah. It would have to be something along the lines of ace-9 or ace-8. But people generally like to have flush draws when they make those kind of plays. And it's a rainbow. So it's just very unnatural to be bluffing here. And I think Vinny's sniffing this out. And I think he just couldn't find it in the end.
He couldn't find that fold.
It's hard to fold.
Wins the biggie.
In this game, it's definitely hard to fold, but you could see the cogs turning and Vinny was just not happy. And with very good reason, because that spot is just ugly. And I'd be very surprised if you asked Vinny, like, obviously he doesn't need to win all the time when he calls, but does he win ever is probably what he's like. It's going to feel really horrible calling there after he was really trying his best to fold. It's just a cooler, James. What can you do? James, you'd have found a fold there, wouldn't you, lad? James never called a river in his life. Without the nuts.
My biggest pot so far. 5 figures, just under going Ben's way, and Vinny will be back. Leaves the bag there.
He will return.
And with every big hand, and we are seeing lots of big hands. Obviously, this is the straddle is double at the moment. We're playing 10, 10, 25, 50, whatever it is. 5, 10, 25, 5, 5, 25, 50. I don't know what's going on here.
5, 10, 25, 50.
There's so many blinds, I don't even know what's going on.
This will probably get changed again. It started as 5, 10, probably get changed again in a couple of hours, maybe to just 10, 25.
I'm just glad to be safe over here rather than on that table, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. You got to take some pretty big spots in these kind of games, like, you know.
What you like at a live table? I've watched a bit of your content. I've seen you get a bit irate when things happen at the poker table that don't go your way. What you like at the live table? If someone's played a hand terribly, they blunder 3-4 times in the hand, and they bust you out the tournament, you nod your head, you say nice hand, you walk away.
Well, it's not a tournament. Like, the tournament's different because I can't come back.
Yeah.
If I can reach into my bag, that's okay. So that makes it a lot more easy to stomach already. But live, I generally just try and have a good time.
Yeah.
Talk to the players, like, you know, it doesn't really bother me too much. Live poker is probably my most enjoyed, live cash anyway. Tournaments are miserable.
Agree.
No, I do like playing these events. It's absolutely class. I'm very, very fortunate to be able to get involved in them. But the live cash is where my heart is. It's where I'm most comfortable. It's where I've got the most expertise with the bar being very low. So it's good to be here. How you doing, Josh Manley? Are you out of the turbo?
How are we doing, Josh?
No way,
I've seen Josh once this week. I saw him. He was going up the escalator, I was going down, and I just waved to him.
You can barely miss him. Have you only seen him once?
Literally only seen him once. He said he was going to come in at some point. Haven't seen him.
He's a big Smith fan as well. Introduced him.
What is the story with you and Smith? How do you actually know Smith?
Oh, that is a long one.
We got 2 hours.
We got time. Is that something that people want to hear? Well, stop me if it's boring. So, I went to university in Reading, and back then I was playing very little poker, just a little bit, a few sit and goes. Not naming any sites, but a few sit and goes and a bit of poker. I was thinking about joining the Poker Society, and there was a post on this gaming forum because I used to play video games as well, and I was just feeling a little bit big, full of myself. I'd won a few sit and goes,
yeah.
And I challenged like this gaming community that we had to a heads up game, and someone called Smith responded. And I was like, yeah, this guy. I don't even remember we ever played. But the next weekend, I went to the Grosvenor to play live cash. And I was playing with this fella, Moped. Didn't know his name. And we got to talking. He said, oh, we're in Poker Society. I was thinking about joining that. Him and his friend Danny. And we got to talking. We had a good chat. They dropped me home afterwards. And I went, oh, mate, what's your name, by the way? He went, Smith. I went, Smith? That's an odd, you don't have that name very often. It's like, by any chance, are you on this gaming forum that I challenged to heads up? And he went, you are. And it was the same fella.
Wow.
So the next week, I went and signed up for the Poker Society. He was president there in Reading, and we ended up playing loads of poker together in the society, in the poker club off campus, in his disgusting kitchen. Where he scammed me out of £180 because people were playing on credit. He'll remember that very well. We talk about it all the time. There was the hand that night where I 3-bet the river, which was what I thought was the nuts, but it was 8 o'clock in the morning. So I had the nuts straight,
and so did he. And then he showed me and folded the nut straight. I was like, I knew you had a straight as well. And because I didn't know him as well at that point, I kept that up until last year when I finally told him. By the way, I just didn't know there was a flush on the bottom. Sorry about that. He went, I knew it. He said. So yeah, that's how I know Smith. And I didn't speak to him for about probably 6-7 years. Not because we don't like each other, just because it didn't happen.
Just going to cut you short. We'll come back to that story because Umesh here, it's all gone in. Ace deuce with the ace of spades, and Jamie's called it off with 2 pair. He has a 7 and he is in front. So fade in aces, fade in spades.
Oh, Jamie gets another. And Umesh will be pulling up again.
That's a 2.5k in the middle here. I missed the pre-flop action. Sorry, guys.
Ace of
It's a
spade.
spade on the river anyway.
I'll do it.
I don't know how that pot got so big, but there we go. Umesh takes 2.5k pot.
I had a message from Smith to stop talking about him, so I'm just going to finish my story. It's very, just the end of it anyway. I was streaming on Twitch and he came in under a different name and he said, it's Smith. And I said, I can't believe it. He's like, I can't believe you're streaming. I was like, I haven't spoken to you in ages. And then since then we've been pretty close actually.
Nice.
For the last 3 or 4 years. So that's it.
That's the story. Wasn't too long a story.
I cut it short, and I've also been well and truly told that I'm not allowed to speak about him anymore. He's a quiet, unassuming guy. So, sorry, Smith. I'm done now. We'll talk about cards again, or football,
Or both.
or both simultaneously.
And Smith.
2 pair versus nut flush draw, coolers everywhere. It's so sick. Umesh is heading into a fan's favourite. Doubling up.
This is what happened Monday though. He done a few 1k pull-ups and then pulled up 2k and just span it into 20 grand. So see if we can have more of the same. From Umesh in again. Calls the 75 open from Merrill. 8-6 off from +1.
Fantastic question here from Lower Grass. Why did Anthony Natalik never reach his full potential? I would question whether that full potential was actually in his locker, to be honest. We do get a 3-bet from Jamie with the ace-jack off, so it's definitely frisky, but as we've seen, Jamie is in the absolute mixer. It came along with Florence Cinema Pongol. Obviously, Florence Cinema Pongol had that goal against Olympiacos. He scored the second before Gerard scored the very famous What a Hit song. Do you remember?
Andy Gray.
Or was it Neil Mellor who scored the second? I think Neil Mellor got the first.
Also made me really upset, Pongel. Carling Cup 2006, we lost you on penalties and he scored the winning penalty and I was there with the old man.
Do you know what's absolutely hilarious? I've got a 2006 Liverpool home shirt with Florence Cinema Pongol.
There you go.
I must have known.
In future life, I'll be sat to the guy who hates.
We've got an ace-high board here, which I think Morel just peeled.
Yeah, didn't go for 4-bet.
Yeah, and that is going to work out incredibly nicely because obviously Jamie would have had to have let it go versus a 4-bet, and Jamie will be very happy with this board overall as the 3-better, and with obviously top pair with a decent kicker, and the small c-bet does seem like it's in order. I would not like to see a check raise from Morel. Reason being, this is a absolutely horrendous board for anyone but the aggressor, because sets you only really have deuces, you're completely capped, you can't really have aces and kings, especially not in this game. Ace king's definitely the best hand you're going to have, and you might not even have that. So when you do raise, a lot of the time you're just going to have like jack 10 of clubs, queen jack of clubs, queen 10 of clubs, stuff like that. So I think you become a little bit underprotected when you raise here. That said, we are going to see it. And obviously, when you've got top 2 in this kind of game, it's not the end of the world. But I would like to see a little bit more rope dangled out there.
Agree. Yeah. Just a board as well that Jamie is going to go after it on. So just want to keep those hands in there. Some of Jamie's bluffs that might send the barrels in down the streets, thinking our opponent can't have aces, kings, ace, king, as he just flatted our 3-bet. As we can see, Morel can have that hand.
I think Jamie... like this is another reason why I don't love the raise. You don't really love continuing here, even against some of those bluffs we were talking about, quote unquote bluffs that have straight and flush draws, you're not doing very well with ace jack. You just straight up are not doing well. So this peel I think is optimistic, because a lot of the time you're probably going to have to fold this turn unless you're feeling like calling all the way down. Slums, is there any mute button? Yeah, bottom left of your browser, son. Jamie, yeah, James likes to fold the flop. I think folding the flop here, given what we spoke about there, would be prudent, but I can understand why in this game you wouldn't want to. Morel is going to jam the turn, which is a gigantic overplay.
125% on the nose.
Yeah, I think
5k into 4k.
I think small bets are reasonable here. The one thing I will say for this, though, before I double down, is that if Morel had something like Jack 10 of clubs, then jamming here is really tempting, because it's really uncomfortable, even though it's probably correct, to bet like a small size and then bet like 2/3 pot on the river. This is probably the way you would win the pot, by putting the most pressure on as early as you can against something like what they have, and it saves you having to shut down on the river when you get called, which you might have to do quite a bit as well. And the 8 is a really bricky card. Morel might be thinking that, you know, Jamie's range is incredibly strong, which it should be once he bet calls this flop, particularly with the kind of range that you'd be expecting Morel to turn up here with. So that is what Jamie's thinking about here. Is this just Jack 10 of clubs and the like?
It's literally 3 combos though, isn't it? There's 3 combos we're clutching at here. For him to have one of those, Queen 10, Queen Jack, Jack 10 suited. King X of clubs isn't the thing, because that's just going to flat the flop c-bet. No reason for that hand to raise. So literally 3 combos of bluffs that we can find, and then I guess even value all 2 combos of ace deuce suited, 3 combos of deuces. I doubt we can give them all 9 combos of ace king, well 6 combos of ace king from Jamie's perspective with an ace in his hand, because that's going to 4-bet some of the time. I do think slightly more value here than bluffs. And how many people actually want to put £5,000 in with queen high or jack high, 1 card to come in a live setting? It doesn't happen too often.
If you did check raise the flop with that hand, it would be a tempting play to make. You'd maybe think it's the most fold equity you'd have.
Well, Jamie's going to call it off with
He's
the ace jack, drawing
dead.
dead.
Yeah. Well, look, all that stuff I said about not check raising the flop, that goes out the window if you can get your opponent to put it in dead on the turn. Jamie has, he's leveled himself into a call here, and I'm not in love, guys. 14k drawing dead is not really where you want to be. He doesn't even have top slums. Jamie Gold always had top.
14k pot for Morel in C number 9. Huge.
Yeah, and he's just fast played a monster, and it's gone incredibly well. So, fair enough.
In another world, that goes 4-bet pre, hand over. Win 600 quid.
I don't know what world we're living in, but it isn't that one. Obviously, that would be the natural play, and Ace King offsuit, I think. Maybe the Ace King of clubs, I don't mind the call as much, but I think Ace King offsuit, especially in this game, 4-betting just seems better. It's not really a floppy hand. It's more of a let's put some pressure on in pre-flop in a game where people are probably being, well, we know they are being way too aggressive.
And the other thing as well, Umesh is always calling behind us, so we then split equity 3-way rather than heads up, want to increase our equity within the pot. But as Nick said, all goes out the window when you play it in that manner and you scoop a 14-bag pot.
Yeah, you can't really argue with that, to be honest. I tried my best. Although I do believe that Jamie should have found a fold somewhere.
I think flop's okay from Jamie, because I think with position, once they get called on the board as the 3-bet where Jamie has aces, kings, ace, king, people tend to slow down, especially in a live setting, rather than continue running it. But I think against the turn, 125% jam, it's a bit optimistic. As I say, just the 3 combos, queen jack, jack 10, queen 10 of the club variety. And they're not always going to jam and take that line. Some of those hands may elect to just check call the flop. run their equity against a strong 3-better range.
Raise 200.
We've lost Jay for the moment.
Yeah, we've gone for 10 minutes. As we know, cash games, there's no set breaks. So a quick stretch of the legs. And hopefully bring back the teas and coffees.
Well, we've placed our orders, so I should hope they come back.
So when do you stream next?
I'll be on probably Tuesday.
Yeah.
Monday I'll recuperate from the weekend's activities, and then Tuesday back to 50 and L. See what we can make happen. Got a few hearts out there in this hand, and we see one heart on the flop.
Queen 10, 3 flop.
There's a little bit going on here because Guillermo does have backdoor flush draw and open end straight. Few backdoors going on for Ben in this kind of game. People can get a little bit sticky with the old backdoor, and Vinny obviously with the best hand being top pair. Guillermo decides to go for a c-bet here, which is definitely reasonable. Vinny certainly not going anywhere, and most of the time here we will be seeing a turn heads up, which we do tower.
We do.
And the turn will bring
5 of clubs.
5 of clubs. Guillermo will fancy. This is one of those spots where this is a really good opportunity to put lots of pressure on with very, very large bets. But then you think you're playing against Vinny. Do you really want to do that? The alternative is though checking, and then if you check, you either have to check fold, and check calling feels really ugly.
Yeah.
So even though it's Vinny, I still do prefer the large bet. Does go for a little bit less than I would like, but still pretty big. We're asking Vinny now to fold a 10 or a queen. I'm not sure that that bet does that.
And indeed it doesn't. You're absolutely spot on.
And it also creates this sort of weird size river jam, which is like 150% pot rather than just a little bit more geometric by betting a little bit larger on the turn. But here we are. Guillermo should have a pretty good idea that this 9 is not going to give him the best hand. But it is also very, very tempting to check when you make a pair. This is probably almost certainly going to go, I mean, it definitely should go check for Vinny, who does, and he will take down the pot. It would have been interesting to see a non-pairing river for Guillermo, whether he would have fired it off. I wonder whether a slightly larger turn bet would have worked out, but I guess top pair on that kind of board against this kind of player, not really likely. But I do have a lot of sympathy for the barrel. Just would prefer it to be slightly larger, and check on the river seems fairly reasonable. Smith digging into. Is that curry?
I don't know what it is. Actually, it looks like maybe a chicken tikka, because it was part of the buffet that was on offer for the players.
Is that still going? Because I am starving.
It was. I don't actually know. I think it was back open at 10. I'm not too sure now.
I'll have to have one of those pizzas again later.
They are good.
Do you like them little crusts?
Yeah.
It's an interesting number, isn't it?
It's a good seller.
Safe as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. Can I have a pizza, please? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
You can't do much wrong with the pizza.
Let's see if Smith can VPip above single digits at some point. Usually when people are eating, they're a little bit tighter. But any sort of suited 4-gapper, and Smith will be back on the table.
Just a call from Vinny. Of the
A little limp. And an isolate. Haven't seen much of the button here so far. They've been fairly inactive. Smith's out. Back to the curry.
Vinny's eating, but he just doesn't like not playing a hand.
Yeah, it is tough not to play hands, isn't it, when you've got hands. 3-way to this one. 6-5 off against Queen 4 and King Jack. Seems a pretty fair fight. 5 in the window.
5 deuce deuce.
What I've noticed is that Umesh does like to lead when he hits, regardless of the flow or regardless of the aggressor or regardless of whether a board is good or not for them, which can work out in terms of denying equity from your opponents that check back with overcards on the flop. But it also can put you in trouble like it did earlier when Guillermo had aces and he decided to lead out his 10 on the 10-6-6 board. So it's got some good size and bad size, but I would say mostly bad size, and that's why people don't really do it. They also don't call 6-5 offsuit pre-flop. So honestly, what do I know, guys? What do I know?
And they don't call a jam with ace jack on an ace king flop. Cash game going on for 2 more hours. Finish at 1 o'clock on the stream, and then back tomorrow with the main event for Saturday and Sunday. Crowning the champions sometime Sunday evening of the main event. The guarantee has been met and surpassed. Well done, one and all. Another cracking week here in Cov.
Great venue.
Yeah, and Jim McShane's coming on board tomorrow to chat about the new league for 888 next year, as there's going to be 8 live events around the country.
In addition to the already existing...
I think it's 8 total, but we will be going to Edinburgh, Luton, places we don't normally go to regarding the 888. So
We'll be back here as well for the
travelling
final.
around, yeah. All depends on whether the grand finals here next year regarding the Vic and their potential refurb. But we'll have Goliath, we'll have the UK Open in end of Feb.
A little bit going on here, 3-bet with the Queen 5. And we're going to go 3-way with some incredibly average hands, which is the flavour of the evening.
We do flop. Ace, 3-7, whiffs everybody.
That's really not what we ordered. I'm not sure what actually would have got any money in here. I guess something in the region of Jack 10, Queen 9. But this is going to be a fairly passively played pot, I imagine. There is £700 in there, though, so whoever does decide that they want it will probably win it.
There's about 250.
I mean, even Umesh has got to find a fold here.
Yep. Even Umesh.
I mean,
Which he does.
Vinny, you've
What
got...
about even Vinny?
I mean, this is a fold, guys. Okay, good. There is something to be said for everyone knows that Vinny doesn't fold, and you know, maybe dissuade them from future bets by taking a little bit longer with hands that you're definitely not going to play. But obviously, that is not to continue.
Stevie Nickel. I'll get Jay on the case when he comes back. I know we're on about this is 888, but we'll try and sort that out for you. Jay has the spreadsheets. He's the money man.
I'm relying on Jay for getting something. Let's see how this coffee goes first, and then
Well, whether we get it.
yeah, whether we get it and how good it is.
Yeah.
He's only got to press the button, isn't it? It can't be that hard.
It depends who he gets to push the button.
I think he might have to do it himself, you know. Jack 8 of clubs is good enough in this game. Certainly not an open in a regular game under the gun, but this ain't no regular game, Tower.
This is not. This is the best stream of cash you will see this year.
Folds through to our many blinds. And I think that's a 3-bet, and it's pocket 8s, which is on the high end of what we've been seeing in terms of holdings. Jack 8, not only is it not an open, but it's certainly not a defender in this situation. especially when Umesh has only got about 2k back. You want a little bit more stack to pot ratio if you're going to be peeling here and seeing a flop. Because when you do call and there's, what, 1k in the middle and only about less than twice that back, it's very difficult to navigate.
I might have a little problem. I pressed black coffee on the machine. It doesn't look very black.
We've had a-
That's what come out. That's what come out. It doesn't look very black, but I pressed black coffee.
Well, I've got a brown coffee.
I pressed black coffee on the machine.
Do you know what we were talking about when we were after tonight? We were like, will he manage to press a button on the coffee machine? And he's failed.
No, I haven't. I pressed the black coffee on. I literally, it come out, I was like, it don't look very black, but we'll go with it.
And I was literally going to say, one thing for sure is he won't come back with 3 drinks.
Yeah. He's only got 2 hands, bless him. And it's hot as well, you're risking your own life.
Nice turn.
This is a great turn for the fans. Lots and lots and lots of potential now for David. And Umesh didn't bet the flop, which I find very strange. It's not at all a bad flop for the aggressor and for his hand. So to see a check is extremely strange. And I imagine now David's going to call. Just peel off, see the river, see what develops, which is what it looks like is going to happen here. You can't fold. And going all in, do you have a lot of fold equity against Umesh? I would imagine I put it in the single digit region.
That's quite funny, that.
So peeling, I think, best. 15 outs. That's not one of them. Umesh should check. And he doesn't. The reason Umesh should check is that lots of things that could have... Remember, David didn't bet the flop, so likely hands that David has, lots of flush draws that we unblock. Therefore, check calling, I think, is wise. Value jamming, yeah, seems good, but then again, you might get called by just better hands a lot of the time, and you might not get called by very many worse ones.
Well, when it's 9-7-7 as well, it's only ace high we get called by. We've got the next pip.
Exactly.
Pocket 8, so it's.
So I think giving a little bit of a dangle rope there, just to see what happens, and then check call. Definitely not fold.
So live stream cash from Cov all the way through till 1 AM. The 11 o'clock replay, day 2 tomorrow of the main event that's hit the guarantee and gone over all the buy-ins for tomorrow plus the re-entries for today. Making a prize pool of right about £510,000.
£510,000, and I am not playing for any of it.
You can still buy in tomorrow.
I could buy in tomorrow. Of course, by buy in tomorrow we mean beg for a buy-in. I think I've got duties. I think I'm needed elsewhere. I'm certainly not needed on the poker table. That just seems like something I don't need to be doing.
Oh, sorry, my yeah, thank you.
Stevie Nickel, I'm just looking now for you of the spread. What was your username that you gave me for Leeds if you want a token?
This is, by the way, incredibly organised. Honestly, by the state of my coffee, I was expecting this to be a complete mess. But
Yeah, because Dad tidies up, that's what it is.
Do you, Dad?
Nah. He acts like he is sometimes. Go get the teas.
He's getting a little clear up now, isn't he? Fold it, Vinny. Queen 6. He's sniffing that back door, isn't he? 8-9. 4-6. No, not 6. 4-8. Good fold, good fold. Who's everyone's favourite player in our lineup this evening? Smith's digging into that ice cream gracefully.
Where's Smith play? London area. I don't like London.
He likes the Vic at the moment.
The Vic.
He likes the Vic at the moment. Another Grosvenor Spesh. Very, very nice arena. There's been a few big games running there, so he's been around there.
Closing soon, the Vic, isn't it, for a few weeks? They're having a complete refurb of the place. And then be all set and ready for leg one. What?
Weck and Beck. I don't think anyone is sitting out. The players that have been eating and just haven't had very good cards.
Yeah. And as you said, you play a bit tighter when you're eating.
You do have a. I actually never eat at the poker table because I like to do one thing at a time and enjoy it. Unless that's poker, which I never enjoy. Because I'm usually on the wrong end of something or other. Be it my fault or not. What a game. We've got some people putting some money in, but we don't see what they're doing it with currently. I imagine that will be rectified swiftly, and it is. And shock, lo and behold, nobody's got anything good.
Ace 10.
Sevens.
Pockets of ace queen. There we go.
David just goes for the 4-bet send.
2.4.
Not many games you get to send ace queen for 90 big blinds, but this is definitely one of them.
Not just send ace queen for 90 big blinds, happily.
Yeah, literally fist pump.
That literally like, oh, what a spot. Ace queen offsuit for 2.5 bags. Wow, get me in. Vinny's calling, I guess.
Yeah.
Can't imagine him folding. I'd certainly rather call here than in that spot we called in earlier. Smith has played a hand and he won 9 bags.
Yep, and then it.
And then he had some tikka, and now he is locked and loaded.
Had some dessert as well.
Yeah, he's treated himself to a little ice cream. All Smith related questions, you can just direct them to me. You don't think ice cream counts as eating? What do you think it counts as? Queen on the flop for David. I'm just pronouncing it David because David Milan is pronounced like that, the cricketer. So I just assumed it was David.
It's David.
It's David.
David, yeah, he's Polish. It's the Polish. I used to call him David, but then it was actually king on the turn. So just fading sevens.
No, 7 dealer, and this will go over to David.
David, yeah.
David. Apologies.
Because I used to call him David, and then my other half's Polish, and she goes, "You don't pronounce it like that. It's David or something like that." And I'm like, "What's the difference?" And she's like,
Getting his name right.
"Yeah,
Wrong, that's
yeah,
the
that's the difference."
You either get it right or you don't.
Really nice guy as well, David. Spoke to him a lot off the table. Always a fixture in our cash game here at Coventry, and taking a nice 5k pot.
Well, in through the window, the only reason I say that is because you definitely can't call it drinking. And I'm not really sure what else.
Slurping?
We don't have any other terms. Consuming? But that's eating, you know?
Yeah.
So we don't need to split hairs, it's just eating. And I think this is when Smith was telling me not to...
If it was a 99, would you lick it or eat it?
Well, I'd do a bit of both. As any normal human being would do. I'd have a lick and then I'd eat it at the end.
Yeah, it looks like angry texting going on for Smith
Yeah.
there.
How many messages did you receive?
How did he find out we were talking about
Only
him? He's
I
got
don't
no-
know
he's got
actually.
no
He might
earphones?
have had a message.
Oh, okay.
He might have had a message. I assume it was a message. He's certainly not listening to the stream. But yeah, he's had a pop. That's all right.
Lads are in trouble. Vinny's taking the jumper off. He's ready now after losing that flip.
He's eating. He's ready to get it all back.
Smith with the 10-6 of diamonds. He's had a think, and he's had a fold. After Umesh limps as well, it's really quite a bad hand on the cutoff to be ISOing.
Guillermo is going to try and get this heads up with a mesh. David with the Queen Jack in the big blind. David goes for a free bet. with the queen jack off makes it 3-7-5, and Ben with the boots in the bird blind.
The boots indeed. Red boots for Ben, who has had a good night so far. And it,
About to get better.
I'd say he's probably going to pick up what's in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, he certainly is, isn't he? I mean, I don't really like to assume anything. I'm quite a big fan of this from David. There's definitely Queen Jack performing way, way better than it normally would, obviously, in this game. But this should, I'm crossing my fingers, be the end of things for everyone's sake.
Will be. I think he's fairly solid, to be fair. I'd probably say one of the most solid players at the table tonight. Usually plays very well, and don't think he'll be continuing here with Queen Jack off. Not in the form of a flat anyway.
I mean, any continue is utter puntery.
There we go. Out of the way.
Little bit of
Utter puntery.
utter puntery.
I don't think that'll be on Susie Dent's corner either.
Puntery.
Puntery.
Yeah, I've got an 8. Puntery. Is it in there, Susie? Yes, it is.
Can you use it in a sentence?
It is. When someone 4-bets and you go for the 5-bet rip with the Queen Jack off, it is in there.
Very puntery.
Very puntery.
I don't think you can't use very puntery. It has to be some other adjective, like, you know, absolute or utter or. Doesn't sound right otherwise. Smith, now he's fed and watered, we might see a little bit more of a. I mean, need some help from the dealer to start.
Yeah,
with.
of course, you need hands in this game. You can't just start playing.
You win a 9k pot, you get fed and you get watered. I'm just thinking bed.
Yeah. Well, you can't be thinking about that for a while. You just woke up.
Tower will be having a wander around the casino right now, having a chat with a few people. Wait for the blinds to pass, come back, fold a couple of hands, off he goes again. Another little wander.
No, I'd never do that.
So the king queen for Vinny, raises it to 200 over the Schlimp with the queen 6 off.
Oh, we got the cash game hand. This will. I like a squeeze, but Morrell's won some big pots, and he might be thinking, you know what? I'll treat myself to a flop with the ace-5 suited.
I actually like flat here, simply because Imish is always going to come in behind. We want to keep some dominated hearts in there, chance to win a huge pot this deep with these two.
It's the first thing that I think I've agreed with you all night.
Didn't agree on the. You guys got lucky when you played us.
No, I don't agree with this coffee either.
Do you not? I didn't make it. The
Well, it's
machine
more it's
made
not
it.
agreeing with my stomach, I think, is the issue. Yeah, but no, you're definitely right. Given the players that are involved, going multi-way and giving people a chance to make dominated hands is always going to be good. Always.
It's a C-bet from Vinny. Don't mind this at all. Like the size as well. Could have gone bigger, but good to see C-bet on the ace-high board as the aggressor.
Thank you, Razor Kev, for tuning in. Have a good night.
Nice one, Kev. See you tomorrow for Towers Treble.
I'm punting on this, by the way.
It come in last week. I wouldn't.
When are we doing this?
It's every Saturday. He usually posts it about 2 o'clock, and then at about 20 past 3, it's over. That is the usual gist. That is literally the usual gist of Towers Treble.
That sounds about worth 50 quid to me.
There'll be no 1-2 shot in it, that is for sure.
I hope not. Is there any? There's not any Sheffield United win away at Arsenal, is there?
No, it's nothing silly like that. It's usually like even money, 2 to 1s.
They should be 50s tomorrow, Sheffield United. They probably will be on Betfair.
I took a big gamble in FPL this week and hoping it's going to pay off tomorrow.
Where were you last week, Mike? Towers Treble is dust.
Come in last week.
Where was you last week? All the best, Kev.
What was the treble last week?
Blackpool were in it.
They were.
Doncaster.
We're delving, are we? We're delving.
Doncaster. Oh, it's never Prem teams. It's always Championship, League 1, League 2. That's what Tower does.
And Swindon.
Because that's his expertise, apparently.
So that's where Rotherham
I use the word expertise lightly, but yeah.
We're all pretenders in here, don't worry. That's why we're in here, not out there.
We've had custom T-shirts made and everything.
Someone bought us some T-shirts in.
Break them out. Where are they?
So the reason we can't wear it is because the person that brought them in, they got me a medium, and I think you a large, and that's the reason we can't wear them, because they're like crop tops on us basically.
You can wear the large. Yeah. Did you not?
The large is still a bit too tight. Yeah, can't get away with it. I wouldn't put everyone through that on the stream when the comms count comes on.
You can't fit in a large. You don't look like you fit in a large.
No, I can't. XL for me.
Wow.
But basically, the shirts say towers treble. It comes in every time, 2% of the time. That's what was made for us.
Yeah, sounds like a bit less than that, actually.
I think it is.
Sounds like EC's on comms, but it can't be because I haven't heard any moaning. Well, unfortunately for me and for everyone's eardrums, I haven't got any money on the line, so there's nothing to moan about. I'm here with two legends of the commentary booth.
Not losing money.
And I'm not losing any.
No,
I'm not losing any bloody money.
You will be tomorrow, Saturday at 3 o'clock if you carry on thinking about putting money on that treble.
Money you enjoy losing is not money wasted. I'm just honoured to be a part of it, really. Talking of wasting money,
Umesh is in with the 10-7.
Umesh has got 400 quid in with 10-7 offsuit. Vinny's got a Queen 9 offsuit, and David's thinking, what have I started here?
To be fair to Umesh, he is in the 100 straddle, and it is only another £350 to defend.
That's a boring flop, isn't it? Nothing really going on for anybody. Morel's got the 9 of diamonds, but he won't be in love. David has got top pair, no diamond, and will probably be going to the turn here with either 4-way or heads up. I imagine David's going to bet here. But it's not a hugely enjoyable spot.
4-way, yeah.
It's just really picking the lesser of two evils here. Do you want to check and let a diamond roll off?
Yeah. Especially like when Umesh is going to peel any 2 suit. Like he'll have deuce 8 suited
exactly,
here, deuce 8 suited. It can be quite.
But these players, Umesh and Vinny, they also play a lot of offsuit hands, so they'll have a lot of single diamond hands you can get value from.
Yeah, of course.
So you definitely want to be popping some money in, I think, in this situation. Morel actually is in a tough spot here because you've got 2 players behind them with, well, I say uncapped ranges. I'm really not sure what these ranges look like, but they can both have flushes, behind him. So he won't love having 2 players behind him, and that might make him fold here because even if you hit a diamond, you're not loving it. Even if you hit a set, because it completes 8-7 and flush is still there. I think that the best thing to do here is fold, although it may seem tight, just because it's so difficult to navigate. And we will see 2 more folds. Bit of posturing from Vinny again. Queen 9 offsuit a lot, hasn't he?
Queen 9 off, King 9 off. Loves the offsuit 9x.
It's funny because those are pretty much the worst hands that you can have against strong ranges. I don't know what's going on here, Jay.
Neither do I, but expect the unexpected with this man, trust me. I know it's your first cash game stream in Coventry with us, but we've seen probably 4 or 5 over the last 18 months of this man, and sometimes he just throws a spanner in the works.
I mean, listen, if you're going to do this, and you're going to have this many offsuit janky hands, just have a diamond. Just
have a redraw.
Just have any hope whatsoever, because everyone knows your reputation. Like if you're gonna bluff raise here, I think you just want to have you just want to have one little ray of hope. Either that you can bluff with it along the way, or that you can make a hand that wins. Queen 9 decidedly can do neither, and thankfully for Vinny's bankroll, it's not luck.
Just over 90 minutes of the cash stream to go tonight. Finish at 1 AM. And then back tomorrow in the comms.
Right and early.
Yes. 11 o'clock start in the club. 11:30 for us. Full 12 hours of live streaming tomorrow.
If you boys need any breaks, I'd be more than happy to accommodate over the course of the day. I know it's a long one for you boys. How long are we playing till tomorrow?
How many levels is it? 10 levels. Yeah, 10 levels would be done about a 12-hour day with all the breaks.
I'll be lingering.
Who Liverpool got tomorrow?
We have not got anyone because we
Sunday,
played
yeah,
Thursday,
Europa
so
League, of
we
course.
don't play. So we're at home to Forest. Salakate.
Banker. Queen 3 suited for Vinny. Raises to 150.
Go on, me and you, Jamie. Two losers, let's see.
And
Let's see if we can win out, me
Gun
and you.
Straddle goes for a defend, what it looks like to me. A fair fight here, these two hands. Flush on the turn for Vinny. And the 4 of spades will probably keep Jamie around at least for one more stream, as he does have that straight draw. And Buddy binks on the river, which he definitely didn't want to do, especially against this opponent who you know is going to have all sorts of stuff going on. Definitely can't fold. Definitely can't fold. And definitely can't raise. Because
That's what I think he's thinking about. He's obviously never folding, but against Vinny, maybe thinking about raising, but just going to have to call here as Jamie.
this would be a really impressive fold. There's no way you fold here. Surely. I think he might have been thinking about folding here. Which would be just incredible instincts. But because of how little money went in before the river. What goal lead would you give Man United versus Man City tomorrow? I'm not really sure. Been a bad beat. How you doing?
At least I have hope.
Good to see you. He's well. I'll give you the story of Smith this evening. He's folded every hand except kings in a cold 4-bet pot, and he woke up 5-bet jammed and won a 9-bag pot. And then he's had a curry, and you've not missed anything else actually.
He had an ice cream.
Yeah, he did have an ice cream actually. I was right. He did have an ice cream.
Done some texting on this one.
He texted me telling me to stop talking about him because he's got so much time because he hasn't played any hands. So he's the buffet is a different buffet every day. Today it's tikka masala, which I've unfortunately missed. Yeah, shock kings. Yeah, Smith is. To be fair, we've seen all his hands and they have all been garbage. It hasn't stopped anyone else, but that doesn't mean he wants to light 10 bags on fire with king 5 off.
The lead with the 8s. Going to open hijack.
Smith will be here long into the night. Unfortunately, we will not be. Well, fortunately for us.
If you want, we'll go at 1, but you can stay if you want to stay on the Smith route.
He's going to go to bed as well. He needs to be here.
There just won't be no graphics. You'll still have old cards. You just won't have bet size in who it's on.
That sounds too complicated. I might go to bed.
You'll have a picture.
Right. Smith the net. How you doing, Banter Ben?
He's in the 50 straddle here, so let's see what he wakes up with.
And he is flicking in a call. Treating himself to a flop for once. With the king 8 clubs. King 8 suited again. 8s against 6s will be what we end up with here. On the turn at least. That is EC Mike Leonard. How you doing?
Away for Smith. He's only played he's played 3 hands now, only hands that contain a king or an 8 in them. So kings, king 8 suited, all the hands he's been.
He loves king 8 suited. Loves it.
And David gets a nice flop to continue on. Don't need to go large on this one. Does go for the small bet, 225. Then with the 6s, takes one off with position.
Yep, could have the best hand. You could spike a cheeky little 6 on the turn. Why is Umesh in here? What happened?
Umesh just floated. He's got backdoor straight, hasn't he? Backdoor spades.
He's got 2 overs to the deuce.
He's actually made a good call against that size with the equity he had against these 2 specific hands.
Yeah, what a player.
6-1 on the call, and he had like 30% on the flop. So
Right, here we go. The float needs to now come to fruition. We need to see a bluff from Umesh. He's first to act. He knows. He didn't need me. Jack high, obviously no good, and a bunch of these type of hands out there in our opponent's ranges, and spades. It would be nice to not have a spade, but when you're playing this many hands, you can't have everything.
and I don't think that he can call here with Ben behind.
Ben might be able to call though.
Yeah, I know Ben might be able to call, but I'm not sure David can because Ben's sitting behind us here. Difficult for them both to have missed spades, and that's only the misdraw on the flop. I know Ramesh just has Jack 9 high, but I don't think David can put a penny in, and he does get out of the way, and now Ben potentially could call. Red 6 is here.
Ben knows that Umesh called behind on the flop. Like, that, I mean...
He could have a deuce here, Ramesh, as well. That's the other thing. He'll obviously have a deuce here as well.
Also, the thing is, Ben... He's getting an extremely good price as well. He's not a massive river bet.
Don't need to be right too often.
And which I actually quite like. I like this river bet. It's like...
Third pot.
I've got like... He might have like ace 3 of spades or something with this kind of sizing. But the problem with this sizing is you don't get a lot of folds. Because it's just such a good price. And not only is it a good price, but you're against Umesh, who floats Jack 9 offsuit on Queen Deuce. So he's probably going to make money.
Not just floats, overcalls,
Yeah.
the bet call, like. So
Umesh led the flop. Must have been my face in my coffee. Is that true?
Could be true. Would make a lot more sense.
That would make a lot more sense. Well, he was first to out. I would have expected it to go on trip. Thank you, Pokeball. Paying attention, because none of us three are.
He did. He led flop. There we go. That makes him. I'm not sure even donking Jack 9 obviously into the first round Queen Deuce, but I guess it does make it slightly better than an overcall. Not that either is good.
Everyone's agreeing that they led flop, but lower grass pretty happy that we're not paying attention.
Well,
I mean,
Nick's not even looking at the whole card. He's just looking at Smith every time the camera pans through.
can you blame me? Look how handsome he is.
Can understand that.
The locks. It's been a while since someone got called for 15 bags. I'm sort of up for another one of them, really. No preferences of who it happens to. 10-8 of clubs for David. It looks above par for the game. 10-8 clubs. King Jack off also, but not really against an open. And now we've got the many blinds to get through, which obviously we won't.
Umesh fills the 8-6 off.
Lots of garbage hands until Vinny, who, I mean, if I know Vinny, this has got to look like aces. Queen Jack suited. Does he squeeze or does he see a flop? He sees a flop. Umesh has got 8-6 off, because why not? He had a fiver in. What's another 290? And on the flop, did you see the flop? I missed the flop.
Queen 6-5, I believe.
Queen 6-5, so a piece for Umesh, who whenever he has a piece, so far he's led out. And apparently when he's had absolutely no piece
He's led
whatsoever.
out, so he's balanced in his leads, which is good.
It depends how you look at the, balanced. Depends how you look at it.
Well, he's got like the absolute trash to Jack 9. He's got some pairs. He's got some strong hands.
So far not had that many good hands. 7 on the turn is not bad. It is a spade as well, so Vinny's going to be delighted. I think this might go in.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
All in. Snap call.
And Umesh is going to have a lot less equity than he would like. Because he'd like, obviously, those spade, 8s or spade 9s to be live, and they're obviously not. Easty get in this game. If you think I've got enough money to be in this game, see wrong.
Offsuit 4.
Mesh.
20% equity gets there again. Had 20% against Jamie with the ace deuce off. 20% against Vinny. Gets there again. And up to 4.5k. This pull up looking a lot better.
I think Mike might have just called the run out there.
Yeah, I think he did.
What a guy.
Nice call, Mike. Mike Leonard watching on YouTube.
Buy some lottery tickets, Mike. Disclaimer, you're probably not going to win. Nice hand for Umesh, who doubles up. Vinny not having the ideal evening, but I think that bag has got a little bit more in it. closest thing we've had to a caller is that 7s against 6-5.
Yeah.
Even that you could argue wasn't really.
Kings versus Ace Queen. I
That's
guess.
not a caller, is it?
It is in this game. It is in this game.
I mean, against the nit, Smith the nit, cold 5-bet jam. Sorry, get me out. I would like to know what Smith's cold 5-bet jam would look like there, his range. Maybe jam. Probably has to jam jacks, doesn't he? It's very sick.
In this game.
It's very sick.
Especially the dynamic of that hand, because Ben was the 3-better and showdown Jack 9 off as the 3-better the very hand before.
Yeah.
And then Jamie's 4-bet range obviously going to be lighter because of that. Even like Ace Queen suited, maybe like closer
Yeah, I mean,
than it looks in this game.
It was early in the game, so later in the game you expect to see more of those like kind of speculative all-ins, but Kings is in there. An open here from Konstantin Umesh, one of his better hands, Jack 5 suited, and Vinny.
Vinny's made it 450.
Vinny's had enough. Didn't squeeze the Queen Jack, does squeeze the 7-9, and I guess because of the nature of this game, we'll still be going three-way, but there'll just be a lot more money in there.
That's exactly what's just happened.
Go to 3 more cards, please, dealer. I see a picture.
Boring flop, really.
There's a pair out there. There's a flush draw, but they are weak. Probably go to the turn here, unless somebody wants to fire. Oh, that's a plaque. I don't think it's the whole plaque, but it is probably going to be most of it. Oh, it is the whole plaque. 1K. That should do it. Constantine with just the bare 10 of hearts with a player behind, even though it is Umesh. It's not a great spot.
And not only that, the times we do call, Vinny's going to be jamming with Ross in the pot on a lot of turns. Like, we're going to make that assumption, and then we're not going to get to see a full run out. A lot of the time, we just have to fold turn if we did elect to call.
Even if it's a heart, you're just not happy. So it's just a mandatory fold.
As it was. That's cool. Cash game for another 90 minutes, so just under. Should see plenty of juicy pots in that time. Thanks to Nick Eastwood for joining us for the cash.
It's an honour. Been waiting for this for what feels like my whole life.
I think you must be. You don't play many tournaments. You haven't heard about the live stream comms booth cars.
No, I haven't.
So we've had a lot of players that have done a stint at comms, and after they've done a stint at comms, they go and win the next event they play.
Oh, there's no danger of that.
Yeah. So I'm just saying.
I've been in the booth enough times. I still haven't cashed a tournament since.
Maybe.
It might be a winning cash session Tuesday.
Yeah. There you go. Right, your biggest ever winning cash sessions coming Tuesday.
I'll take it, boys. I'll take it. I'd rather win a tournament though. My motto for tournaments is I'll only play them if they're free. Otherwise, it's just a complete waste of my money because I'm just not very good
You
at them.
did cash in the World Series.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Tower. I did cash the main. Yeah, I cashed the main. And this summer,
Last year, cashed the mini?
Yeah, I cashed the mini this year and cashed the main the year before.
Easy game then, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredibly easy when you win your all-ins. And we've even got a command. Look, thank you, Lower Grass.
Did you play it this year again, the main?
Yeah, I played the main. Did not go well this year. I had a very tough day 2 table and didn't play my best. I had 100 blinds going in as well, so it's a bit disappointing because 100 blinds is my area.
At least you made day 2.
Yeah, most people do, unfortunately, though. Yeah, it didn't. It was. I petered out. I tried everything, but unfortunately, I got wrecked. Apparently. Scotty Alford. You tune in late, you hear Smith locked up, you never would believe it. If you hear Nick's voice, the kind of voice you could sleep to, an Aussie bad beat in chat doing kick flips down under. And I'm still stuck in 2005 grinding FR online with no variants. Anything I now need is the Tower treble.
Tower's treble.
How are we doing, Scott?
How you doing, Scott?
Hope things are good.
Scotty Alford in the building, big Smith fan. One of the biggest Smith fans, potentially. Obviously, I'm up there. Most of my career when he was on the final table of the London main. with some rather unbiased commentary. Sometimes you can't help yourself, guys. I may or may not have kissed a badge when he flopped 3 8s.
All I need is to win one end.
I think you tell the dealer off as well. Like, what are you doing, dealer? I recall that in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Always blame the dealer, guys. Remember that.
For someone that just plays cash flow, seems to do alright in comps whenever he plays them.
He just... it's just miraculous. Every time he plays a 2K, he seems to final table it, apart from the one I bought action in. He didn't final table that one. He proudly made that statement in my Discord the other day. I think he probably torched it on purpose just so that was how it was. But yeah, he does do really well in them. He just is just a good natural poker player.
Yeah.
He just has very good instincts. I'll always say that about him. He just seems to have a pretty good idea of what's going on, and he does have ace jack off, which he might not know, but is pretty much the nuts in this game. And here he comes, first playable hand pretty much for Smith, and he does come out of the traps. £700, and you notice already like his 3-bet size is just a little bit bigger than everyone else's. The dead money, along with very sticky players, you're not really gonna want to make small raises. You even got Umesh to fold, so clearly Smith as image is paying off here.
Yeah. Even a mush is where that Smith's played hardly any hands, and the one hand that he's seen was kings.
Honestly, I think Umesh would have had a problem with some of Smith's hands. They've been pretty awful, like most of them, from what I've seen. And that ace jack was just a really good spot. But yeah, he's a good overall player, mostly in cash, but does love a tournament. He was late. He was driving up from London for the high roller, and he called me. He was like, I think I'm going to be late. Can you buy me in? And they were like, I was like, you're going to get blinded out. He was like, yeah, that's fine.
I thought down bed someone trying to buy a seat then.
Get me in! Yeah, that was actually when I went on my break half hour ago. I was speaking to Dan actually, and he said to me straight away, he goes, can you get me on this? Is there a list? And I just looked at him and I shook my head. I went, no chance. Not getting on this game.
You got to know. You got to know some people.
Unless you put an 888 patch on, then you're straight in, as Smith is in seat 3.
I think that was put on him.
Oh, that was put on him.
Yeah, I watched. He was accosted. We're back in the mix, and we've got queens. Nice to look down at after you've just taken one down with a squeeze. People might think you've started to loosen up a little bit, but nope, shock, we've got queens. Nuts only, and Morel probably going to peel here with the 9-8 clubs, although...
Yeah, strange limp from Morel. Hasn't open limp once yet, but elects to do it with this hand, the 9-8 suited, and what a spot for Smith, these two hands that he's actually up against 7-8 with a club and 9-8 of clubs.
Yeah, these are pretty crushed in this spot, but that doesn't mean to say the board can't help them.
3-way flop, ace 5-8.
Obviously still Smith in the lead here, but some potential for both of our players, Morel and Umesh, who have paired the 8. Smith with a betting lead from pre-flop may decide to go for a small bet here, or with all of his hands. And I probably assume that's what he's done.
Third pot. And versus third, expect Morel to call this deep with Smith. Got some nice backdoor possibilities, and second pair could still be good.
Not sure Smith will be in love with 2 calls, but he will be now as he drills the second set on the turn. Unfortunately, his opponents are struggling on this turn in general. Does Smith want to thread a check in? I would strongly doubt that he checks this turn back. Obviously, if you could see their hands, you would definitely check because they're both completely dead. But in this game, obviously, if you have a good hand, and even general in poker, you want to build a pot when you've got good hands, and that is exactly what Smith's going to try to do on this turn, but I have a feeling this will be the end of things.
Yeah, I agree, Nick, but has to bet, cannot check this spot. Ace-X is definitely out there for both players, and that's not going to be folding versus a second streak, so I don't think there's any situation where we want to check here. Unless you can see the whole cards, as Nick said, because they're both drawing dead.
Then a 1.1. Should be the end of it.
This tank is odd. This is a pretty clear fold, and we do get to see a fold. Umesh has got a pair. If he calls, he's got Only about 1.4k back though. It's not an enticing spot for third pair, no kicker. And he does lay it down. And Smith will be thinking, what I've got to do to get paid this gaff.
Cold 5-bet shove, that's what he's got to do.
Yeah, literally, cold 5-bet shove into the entire table and get called in 2 spots by, what was it?
Ace Queen and Jack 6 off.
Yeah, sounds about right.
To be fair, he only had like 1,600 quid unless he didn't have the full effective stack.
Oh, that makes it.
Yeah, I know. But he didn't put in like 5k with
Yeah.
Jack 6 off. It was only like, I think 1,600 quid.
Well, it wasn't the 20 plus K pot that Smith would have been hoping for, but he does pick up another one and moves up to about 11k in the game.
There will be a 20k plus pot tonight. It's just whether we get it in the next hour and 15 minutes on stream, or whether it happens when we close up shop. But these guys will be playing. I reckon they could still be here when we turn up for work tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised.
Really?
Though, honestly. When a game's good.
If it's still running, we'll do the first hour of the cash.
Get me in, lads. Not sure we want to be advertising that level of degeneracy. But sometimes, I mean, the poker games generally, they do run around this time of the day and they run late into the evening because...
When everyone's enjoying themselves and the game's good and there's action, there's lots of multi-way pots, it's fun to play in.
Absolutely. Especially when you drill second set on the turn. Smith was saying before he started that he was running insanely hot recently, so not that has any bearing on today, but it seems to have continued so far.
Tower's famous saying that it's a form game. This Tower believes.
Form,
yeah,
yeah.
Tower believes in it. He thinks it's a form game. Just always get 1 or 2 players that have that sort of 2-3 months of just winning everything, final tabling everything.
Yep, it's like Tower's treble. It's a form thing.
I hope
And
so.
we're on form.
I hope so.
Big believer of form.
Oh, look at this from Umesh with the 3 deuce. Makes it 500 with the nut low. And Jamie's going to peel in the straddle with the 10-4 suited. So 1,100 in the pot and the 2 hands of 3 deuce and 10-4 here. And Umesh just sends it with the bottom pair for 2k. 2x pot.
I mean, this is the kind of board where Jamie, I mean, this is quite similar to, well, it's a very different spot, but and a very different player. It's quite similar to the spot earlier where he's thinking there's quite a few draws here and a pair may have a pretty good chance of being in the lead. Obviously Umesh is the kind of guy that's playing a lot of hands. He could have a multitude of flush draws here. He could have 5-6 offsuit, 7-5 offsuit. He could have queen 6 of spades. And I think that is why he's decided to flick this one in with second pair. And only in this game could you get a 5-bag pot where 10-4 with middle pair is pretty much the nuts.
It's crazy. So Jamie makes the call and just fading 3s and deuces. So 5k pot, who's it going to? Jamie, big favourite.
And it is Jamie Lee, seat 2.
And 10-4 is going to be good for Jamie.
Well, big chips, 13.6 in C9. A 3-1 the monster, 14k pot, the biggest pot so far at cash. Cheers in through the window. Joking aside, thanks for the stream and insight provided by the comms guys. Great to get 2 big cash players here, Jay and also Easty as well. Eastley will have plenty over the weekend regarding 888 duties, so good to get him in for an hour. We're here for another 70 minutes and hopefully a lot more action. And then day 2, I'm sure the day 2 chip counts as well, day 1C chip counts. At the end of the evening, some big stacks building there. I can tell you at the end of day 1C, Danny Pike was chip leader.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 400k. And 5th in chips on day 1C, there's an MBE.
Wendy Watson. Wendy Watson bagging up 5th in chips. Funny old lad, ain't he, Nick?
He is. I do flick into his streams every now and again as well.
It's just,
I know he likes to rant and rave and swear and what have you, but it's just great content.
grab him 5 minutes quickly. There's no breaks on the cash game, but it does make me chuckle. And he's missing a pot here. These two, 400 BBs deep, 7s for Morel, 7s for Smith, ace-10 suited for Morel. And this deep here, you got to remember, this is a 100 straddle, so only essentially 13 bigs is this free bet. So could see Smith come along here with position. Times we do flop a set, we could win a monster. Imagine this being the 20k pot and Nick's just popped out and Smith's involved, Tower.
Might ask us to rewind it. Ace side flop as well for Morel.
And ace-10 here. Could just go small, try and get some value. I think this is one we could check from time to time as well, out of position. Like, we'll need some top pair checks to protect our check range. And I think ace-10 of hearts with the backdoor flush draw, backdoor Broadway draw could be a tidy little candidate. Maybe we start checking the ace-3, ace-4, ace-5 suited with their backdoor will, and maybe just bet the Broadway ones. But either way, Smith not going to put another penny in with the 7s.
Well, out of the way correctly. So just a couple of days left. Oh! Aye, look at him, he's gazing at you. East is thinking, what is he thinking? Just going to show you the schedule for Saturday and Sunday, but
Nope.
there's been slouching down.
We'll get the comms cam fixed. Yeah. You just missed it.
No, you missed it.
3-bet pot, open to 300 from Smith. 3-bet from Morel to 1.3k. Smith peeled the 7s. It come ace, queen, deuce, and had to fold to a c-bet. So invested 1,300 quid, but couldn't flop a set.
Never lucky, eh?
Morel had ace-10 for top pair.
Fair enough.
I thought it was going to happen. I thought you just popped out. Smith's involved in a massive pot. I thought you're going to miss it, but
Petered out.
Just a little 1.2k, was it?
it was 100 straddle on. Smith opened to 300. Small blind 3-bet to 1,300. Smith called 10k deep and didn't flop a 7.
I'd have been sweating that flop. So the 100 is not on all the time.
No, not all the time.
Who's putting the 100 on then? Do we know?
Vinny's getting the 100 on. I think Jamie is getting the 100 on.
It's a big game.
I think that's about it.
Decent flop for Morel, who has been running pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. All started with that 5-7 versus Vinny. Mesh going to call here with the king 10 high, no heart.
Pretty much floats range, doesn't he? So king high.
Loves a float.
6 of clubs turn.
Thank you in through the window. This will be done on the turn. If the mesh floats here, then I'm probably going to go to bed.
Fine by me. There we go. Out of the way. Oh, then say, what have you missed? You've missed action.
Yeah, we've been doing cash for a couple of hours. We did the Ambassador 888 sit and go earlier from 6 o'clock. Vivi Saliba beating Nick Eastwood heads up. Never got a hand, Nick, all day long.
You were watching, weren't you?
Not one.
I had a kings and I doubled against Aaron, and then heads up, the blinds were up to 1,500, 3,000, and I literally had 7 high every hand. Was she jamming like good hands, or was she just getting wrecked?
No, she hit most of the time and raising with decent cards.
I just had 7 high.
She wasn't ruining you that much.
so hard heads up when you don't have hands.
Yep.
And they do. And they're good. I came back into it, I was feeling good, and then like within 5 hands I was dead because I just lost every hand. I opened to 6 and she's got jacks. I have king jack and she's got jacks.
It was the aces hand that got you back in it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought she was up to it a lot, so I decided to just flat.
8-3 off she had.
Yeah, so that's definitely the overall, I guess, my play. But yeah, I couldn't get enough going. I barely got to, I didn't get to jam once. I didn't get to jam a single time pre-flop. I just ended up calling off with deuces, which is not really what I want to be. Alas, it's over. But the action doesn't stop there.
If you had one of the package, which city would you have chosen for next year?
Oh, that's nice, rub down.
Well, that's what I'm here for.
I would have gone to Madrid because not been yet. Yeah. Do you hear that, boss? I would have gone to Madrid.
8-5 deuce, 2 hearts, checks, bet, call. Umesh takes one off with the ace-9, does pick up wheel draw on the turn. I think top pair were just happy to go for 3 streets versus this opponent as Ben and goes for overbet on the turn.
Top pair is a pretty good hand in this game. Hard to make at the best of times. Mesh has got a gut shot, but the dirty end, and 2 overcards that aren't thrilling because one of them brings a wheel and the other one's just a bit underwhelming. So, reluctantly, folds. Ben scoops another one.
Yeah, been a good session for Ben as well.
A lot of life left in it yet. How's your Spanish, Easty? Más o menos. Más o menos.
Aye.
I don't even know if that's the correct way of using that term, but it means so-so, I think. Actually, that's completely wrong. I'm absolute garbage. More of less. Cash games are a different animal, I should imagine. Most cash players are not have discipline to play tournament poker. Most tournament players are too tight to play cash. There's a little bit of overlap, but cash is certainly a different discipline. I prefer it. I know these guys don't. But that's okay. People are different. There's something for everyone.
I much prefer cash over MTTs. I'm just not a fan of grinding for 2 days and sometimes ending up with nothing, or grinding for 2 days and doubling your money. It's one of them. And I'm also not a fan of getting a dream table, getting really unlucky, going to buy in, and then you're on a completely different table as well. Obviously with cash, if you get stacked, you can just pull back up, and off you go again.
But do come to 888 Poker Live, guys. It is a great time. It's always a very social event. You see the same people. We have a lot of fun. People win lots of money.
$500,000 in the prize pool.
Yeah.
Still buy in.
And you get to meet the tower.
Where's the first one in 2024?
I believe it's London. It could be not London. But do you mean the Poker League, or do you mean the 888 Poker Live? Because those are different things.
The 888 Poker Live. Pretty sure. Pretty sure.
What are you pretty sure of, Tal?
We might be back in Coventry.
You think so? But it is good here. I like it here. Easy for me to get to as well. I live like really close to London. This is easier to get to than London.
So Umesh just goes to donk jam, 1500 into 1200 and gets snapped off by Vinny.
Oof.
And going to be dead on the turn.
These are the brothers.
Yep, 2 brothers.
They're
Vinny
getting
and
it in
Umesh.
over and over again,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Ace Jack, going to be good for Vinny.
How does Vinny not free bet? Vinny does what Vinny wants. That's really about as much as I can give you. I think it's best not to try to question too much, really.
Oh, chip left there, little green check for Umesh.
Save that seat for me, dealer. I'm going to go and get a few more bags. We'll get a bit deeper though. We've had obviously like short stack quite a lot of the time. There's a lot of money on this table. It's a big game, guys. It's a big game.
We had one in Luton last year that had nearly 6 figures on the table. Similar lineup, different players, but similar sort of game.
It's a monumental game. You don't really see that many games this big, especially live streamed in the UK. So it's a privilege, really, to have it here under the 888 flag. Hope we can do more of them. That would be nice. I'm certainly here for it. Maybe I'll buy them for 10 big blinds every now and again.
Spin it up.
That's all I've got. In this game, 10 big blinds is quite a lot of money. We've got an hour left, guys, of tonight's cash game. Well, the guys are going to keep going, but we are going to go to bed.
I will most certainly be going to bed tonight.
None of that FIFA malarkey.
No, none of that FIFA malarkey.
No,
Not tonight.
no.
You mean EAFC?
Well, EAFC now, yeah.
What's it called?
EAFC.
EAFC.
We've got some pretty good hands for this game. Ace 10 suited, ace queen. Morel just with the call on the cutoff, which is interesting because when you call here, you're going to go multi-way a lot, and this hand doesn't love going multi-way. You'd rather have ace queen suited to go multi-way. You'd rather isolate this and be heads up. It makes me think that maybe Morel is kind of playing a little bit more on the let's see what we flop, let's play in position against some players that maybe I'm stronger than kind of angle, which I definitely respect. It's working for him so far.
Vinny actually flopped the best of it here with second pair. It does check through. And 8 on the turn. Wouldn't be surprised if Vinny started leading once it's 8 pairs.
He does go for the bet. He's got that pair of fives most of the time. It's fair to say most of the time this is going to be the best hand. Constantine hasn't folded yet, but will. Morel could be interested with the ace queen high. It's obviously pretty close to nut no pair in this situation. Does have a player behind, but yeah, certainly a preference for fold. And the pair going to go in the muck for Jamie. Hasn't folded many pairs this evening. And we're showing one card. It's
Folding pairs?
not in this game, lads.
Oh no. Billy Gamble on YouTube says, is there any way the stream can be left rolling if after you've finished? Obviously no comms or bet sizes, but could it be done? No, because we'd still need an action tracker. Because if you don't fold the hand, the cards for the next hand wouldn't be shown because the cards from the previous hand would still be on screen. So even though you don't see the action tracker at all, he inputs all the action, and when the guy folds, he does his fold and raise and so on, so on. So unfortunately,
The hero we
can't
need,
be done. Absolutely.
but not the one we deserve.
Yep.
But they also have to go to bed.
That's true, because we're all back in at 11 AM tomorrow, because we are streaming the full 12 levels of day 2 tomorrow. 12 hours, 10 hours, yeah, 10 levels, full 12 hours of live stream tomorrow for day 2 of the main event, starting at 11:30.
King 7 of clubs for Smith on the button here is going to open it up. Going to get called by Queen 7 off from Vinny. And some dominated clubs from Ben here with the Jack 9 of clubs. Going to think about potentially squeezing here. Definitely wouldn't mind it from the last straddle here. And he is going to put in a raise. It's going to be up to 750. This is pretty rotten hand in this spot for Smith. I think he'll probably be letting this one go.
The King 7 suited actually, obviously at a small frequency, but actually can find some 4-bets with these positions. Well, usually versus big blind, but this is third blind, but this is what you are going to see more often than not. But some interesting properties with the King 7 suited, button versus big blind.
Yeah, those suited little kings, they sometimes do feature. Do we need to do that in this game? I don't
Of course we don't.
Smith
need to.
told. Looks like a good decision to me. And Ben preying on the tight, weak player. Good aggressive 3-bet. How you doing, Sushi? How are things going? more cards have been dealt, more action will occur for the next 54 minutes. We are hoping for something juicy before we're up for the day.
A6 off for Jamie. Going to choose to open, makes it 75. Guillermo.
It's Guillermo.
Guillermo.
Because that double L in Spanish/Portuguese goes, you know. Am I not balanced in that spot? You know I'm not balanced in any spot. King out of clubs for Vinny. Gonna bump it up to 325. And Guillermo with the Queen Jack offsuit is getting bored. That's the only way you can really. I mean, it is button versus small blind.
It's Smith's hand, to be fair. That's why he has to play it.
King 8 spades, yeah, Smith handed, but yeah, King 8 suited. There will be a continue here because we do have the nut shot on a rainbow, so those, you know, those 10s are all clean, which is definitely relevant. You'd be much less enticed to be peeling here if there was 2 diamonds, for example. Guillermo does call, obviously, as he has to. No raising here. Oh, and he does absolutely ping it on the turn. Does he not? Am I seeing this wrong? He's pinged it. Obviously, Vinny's hand is not amazing, but it's Vinny. So, you know, when you have the nizzies in position on this game, you're thinking about bleeping Vegas and the bleeping Mirage.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. Vinny's going to go for another bet, just with second pair. No real kick up.
Yeah, I mean, on the flop, you can understand a pretty standard range bet. This turn bet is just a bit odd. It doesn't seem to achieve much. Better hands will continue. You knock out all the hands that are worse than yours that will certainly fold. What really can you expect Guillermo to continue here? Probably something like Jack 10 or Queen 10 that you can get value from. You're not folding out a worse hand. So this is just not really achieving anything. And only call here. Absolutely. Drilling that offsuit rainbow 10 as well. No need to do anything. You're so protected here. You're not worried about flushes. Only board pairs you don't want to see. That looks like it might be a board pair. No, it's just a 4 straight, which Guillermo will hate equally.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't think there's any more money to be won here. Unless Vinny gets extra fruity. Does decide to check. We do still have the nuts, obviously, so betting will be done. How much money do you think you can get from something like Ace Queen, Ace King? Probably not sets, but you know, that kind of region, Ace 10 kind of hands.
Vinny can still have sets here for sure as a free better, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that's what we have to ask ourselves, what size is going to call with the sets and the 2 pairs.
Generally speaking, you just want to size in a way that makes sense for the board. I think non all in for sure. If the river was something like a 5 of spades, all in would be extremely reasonable. But if you think about it, in position here is basically saying I have a jack.
Exactly that.
And they rep a jack incredibly well. They would, like we said, pretty much the only hand that continues that's worse on the turn is Jack 10, Queen 10. Queen 10 would snap check back the river. Jack 10 obviously has a straight. But
Ace Jack, King Jack.
Yeah, but you can't comfortably bet even a set here for value. And how many sets does Guillermo even have when he only flats the button versus 3-bet? Probably extremely few versus Vinny's 3-bet range. So we're really here looking at Guillermo repping a jack. And if I ask you, Jay, what could Guillermo be bluffing here with? Could you think of anything?
I couldn't think of a single hand. I couldn't find one for you, Nick.
Because he has to call twice and then bluff.
Yep.
And that would look something like Ace 5, genuinely. It would look something like Ace 5. And now, do you want to bluff Vinny here with Ace 5? You'd probably just tap the table. Maybe something like King... there's nothing. There really isn't anything. Nothing. And so this is actually, I think, quite an easy fold. But Vinny's had some struggles today folding hand on rivers. And you can't blame him for being a little bit frustrated. Nothing seems to be going like overly well. And he's going to lay it down, which is a good decision. Or is he not laying it down? He's struggling with this one, Jay.
Yeah. It's actually a really good river for him. Not that he knows it. He thinks it might be a bad river, but could have potentially had to pay this off if...
He's going to lose it anyway, you know. This is just not one of those spots. And this is a product of frustration, I think. It's just not one of those spots where it's intuitive or easy to have bluffs. Simply because you've filtered your opponent 2 times, they've called 2 bets. A lot of their hands that you're losing to will check the back immediately, like king 10s, queen 10s, ace 10s, because of the 4 straight. So you have to find a hand that isn't a jack.
Yeah, no one bluffs ace, what a suited wheel ace here. No one bluffs.
Yeah, they have to turn an ace into a...
And no one turns an ace into a
Well,
bluff.
he loses to an ace, Jay. If he's bluffing with
yeah,
ace 5...
yeah, of course,
he's behind.
Yeah.
So there is no hand here. There's no hand that Vinny can beat. Really,
Nothing.
I can't even think of one, even like an optimistic one.
Nothing.
Maybe king 5 suited, but you chop with that. This is just a frustration situation. I do think this is a pretty comfortable fold, but because think about it as well, you've 3-bet and you've bet twice. You're going to have a lot of better bluff catches than this. You're going to have sets, you're going to have 2 pairs, you can have straights yourself. Because when you do bet twice and you see this river, you're going to check a lot of your 2 pairs and sets because you don't like the river. So, all in all, you don't need to defend a hand that loses to bluffs, 1. And 2, when you have way better hands that you can call river bets with. So this needs to be folded. But Vinny may not find it.
And as you say, if he doesn't find it, I think it's just down to frustration, losing pot after pot, been unlucky a couple of times. Obviously lost that big pot versus his brother when he had 80% all in on the turn.
Yeah, I mean, this can only really be attributed to frustration, because when you really break this spot down, I honestly cannot think of a hand that we could even possibly...
Do you know what? Blair Toast has just reminded me of a hand. Sorry, guys. But Jamie Lee in Seat 2, we had a massive pot in Luton on exactly the same board, except the 10 and the queen were switched round, where I said the exact same thing and Jamie Lee was bluffing with 7 deuce because the 7 deuce was game on. He floated 2 bets.
Wow.
And then bluffed river with the 7 deuce. Because the 7 deuce game was on it. It's almost an identical situation other than the turn and river switch round. So that's what Blair Toast is mentioning there.
Wait, if the 7 deuce game is on,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah,
then the conversations become different.
Yeah.
There's 16 combos of 7 deuce that you could beat. So, you know, it's like it's an entirely different ball game. That is a very, very big deal, because remember, if Guillermo's repping a jack, which I think we're saying pretty much he is, because it's very difficult to value bet 2 pair or sets there. You have to be pretty confident in yourself and your read. And not all of Guillermo's 2 pairs can happily bet as well, because it's very easy for Vinny to have ace queen, ace 10 there, and not just check the 4 straight on the river to check call. So yeah, without the 7 deuce game in there though, it's just a side fold. Not even a side fold, it's just a fold.
And then Mesh is back with some fresh plaques, ready to go again, straight into it with a 6 deuce. He's having that wander tower, 20-minute wander, little walk around the casino, stretch of his legs.
He's come to find the comms booth to tell me to shut up talking about him.
It's hard to find if you don't know where it is. It's very difficult to find.
Yes, nobody knows where we are.
It's Queen Constantine.
I always say though, if you go to the feature table and follow the wires, you just got to follow the wires and you'll find us.
One day there'll be no wires, Jay.
Yeah.
Then how will
I don't know. So Constantine, 3-bet into 600, 4x over the button open of Vinny. Vinny with 10-4 suited made it 150. Surely not a mesh. Just come back to the table. Is he going to go for the limp cold call or the 3-bet? He is with the 6 deuce suited.
I think surely not a mesh should just be ruled out at this point. I mean,
And Vinny's in with a 10-4 suited here, and here we go.
these are some pretty good hands to have against ace queen off, you know. And neither of them connect.
Nor
even
does the ace
close.
queen.
Yeah, and honestly, as the ace queen player here, you're
Heavy
like,
check.
I hate my life so much.
I've just checked giving up here versus these 2 opponents who have a catalogue of 9s, 7s, flush draws, a whole host that continues.
Do you know what else they have a catalogue of though?
Go on.
Absolute nothing.
That is true.
That has to fold. And You know, this situation, the player that has everything, yes, they can always connect with the board, but they have a lot of whiffs. So betting here is pretty good. And remember, if you don't get folds, you're pretty much going to have 6 clean overs against the majority of their range. So betting here against these players may feel really uncomfortable. I actually think it's a really, really solid play.
Third gets through for Constantine. Honestly, I thought Vinny was going to float then when he went for his chips with the 10-4 of spades.
He's hurting, is Vinny. He's hurting.
I don't think it would be the most unreasonable float.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
45 minutes of streaming left tonight, and then back tomorrow for day 2 of the main event that's hit the guarantee and gone well over it.
One thing I will say about Constantine there, I feel with Vinny and Umesh, they play pretty honestly. So when we do check to them out of position, like they're going to bet the hands that have connected and they're going to check the hands that haven't. So we do get information that way.
Suited hands are definitely in vogue, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, Ben's not going to be folding a pair. Pairs and suited hands got way in value in these situations. Constantine's got the ace-4 suited. Generally a decent hand to squeeze with. But again, very similar to the situation earlier. Going to the flop here multi-way with nut potential is extremely valuable. Because people are calling too much post-flop. They're calling with too many speculative suited hands like 10-4 and 6 deuce. So people are going to make a lot more dominated flushes than you might normally see. So the value of the suited hands, the suited ace x, excuse me. Did someone raise?
No, it's just that the 100 straddles on. Maybe because the 100's on.
I'm not having this.
I'm
sorry.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well.
I'm not having ace-4 suited going in the muck. Can you imagine Vinny or Ramesh having ace-4 suited? They'd be bounced off the wall.
Get him off, Tower. Go and get him off the game. Seat open on the stream table.
Yeah, that was an incredibly tight fold. I mean, this is the kind of, literally the exact kind of spot you want to be involved in.
Yeah.
Multi-way with nut potential. Unfortunately, they've let it go. They would have connected half with the flop here, and they've got backdoor potential. Umesh with the best hand does go for the bet. We know he likes to lead out when he makes the hand.
Third pot from him.
And Ben's going to have to let this go. It's just not really enough good things happening.
Yeah, out of position. It's one of them scenarios where we were drawing to 2 outs, very slim, less than 10% equity. And even against like the 7-8s, the gut shots, this stuff, we're only going to have like 60%, and then just going to have to fold to turn barrels. There you are, Ryan Mandara's just woke up. I've just seen him with a pint in his hand on the rail, wanting a seat. You snooze, you lose.
You snooze, you wake up 11 hours later, by the sounds of it.
I mean, you thought ace-4 suited here. I mean, I'm not sure what you want. Ace-4 suited. It's just in this game. It's just it's exactly the kind of hand you want.
And another great factor about that hand is morale, and Umesh, his squeeze tendency is so small. They're 2 of the players at the table that haven't really been taking the aggressive route with the higher end of their range. They've just been calling, haven't been doing much re-raising.
Oh, they want to see the flop. There's 3 more cards to be seen. Yeah, even with stuff like Queen Jack suited, they've been just seeing flops.
Yeah, exactly. It's
and
like
Ace Jack suited, so like, yeah, definitely agree with you. You just have to be in there. You're not going to get punished, like you said. You're going to go multi-way with dominating flush draws. It's just a very strange fold for the game. Even in a regular game, you can peel out there with a small blind pretty profitably.
I'm joined, well, me and Tower are joined. Tower hasn't got a word in the last half hour, but Tower is here. We are joined by Nick Eastwood, Eastleigh 22.
To be fair, Nick draws Beth now and again.
I love cash, guys.
It's great, I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. And it's a great table. Probably the best lineup of the year, as always, down in Coventry.
It's open 6-4 suited, and Ben rolls one in with a Queen 7 of hearts on the button. Makes it 450, and a mesh with the cold call from the 3rd blind.
Disappointing all black flop.
Yeah, very disappointing.
Cheers, Ian. Glad you're enjoying it. Not much to enjoy on this flop for anybody, so the first aggressor is going to win this one.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
Oh, sorry. Unless the first aggressor is the one without the gut shot. Ace on the turn does bring 4 clubs, though. So, an entirely underwhelming ordeal for all involved. But there's still 2 bags in the middle.
There you go.
As we've become accustomed to. And another barrel from Ben, who is just airballing the Queen 7 here. And it's going to work.
A misdrawing dead versus any bear club now, so just lets it go out of position.
And obviously against Umesh, they're going to have a lot of floats that don't contain a club. And you do need to find bluffs on the 4 flush boards. I mean, they're very scary to general.
I find their
Cash game
boards
play.
tend to be over bluffed as well. I feel like when people check back turn with not much, and then the 4 flush completes on the river and it's checked them again, and you just tend to see people bet almost their entire range that doesn't have showdown. I think they are boards that are heavily over bluffed.
Yeah.
Finish the 888 Poker TV free roll.
3,000 runners.
11 for 2934. Where'd they get the password from? You could only get it from us.
That's true.
I think it floats around.
Yes, we can. As soon as one person gets it, they stick it on the forum somewhere else, or stick it in the Twitch chat if they're streaming. 2,934 runners.
Is that a typo, or is that actually how many runners he had? Well, thanks everyone for playing, I guess.
Yeah, amazing.
Queen 10 for Vinny. Opening it up, that's about as good as it gets, doesn't it, for Vinny? Top of the range.
Constantine surely going to be continuing this one. Saw him fold the ace-4 suited.
Lay this one down, you are getting.
He's off. Yeah, he's getting off the table if he folds this one, Nick.
Either option here completely fine, and does go for the 3-bet, which is totally and utterly fine. This, incidentally, does play a lot better than ace-4 in this situation, in the 3-bet spot. But the ace-4 can just peel along, which is why we were so confused by the fold. But the king 10 suited here are going to be dominating a lot of Vinny's opens, because we know how much he likes the offsuit Queen X, the offsuit King X, etc. So Constantine happy to play a slightly bigger pot in position with a very playable hand against what he assumes will be Vinny's range, whereas ace-4 doesn't do as well against those hands. You know, he doesn't really get to dominate anything, so I can definitely understand the hand selection.
Vinny does come along with Queen 10 off, so great spot to be in for Constantine. Position and has Vinny dominated with 1.2k in the middle.
King high
Oh,
board.
this is what we want.
What a flop. King Jack 6.
And players like Vinny are not going to be relinquishing open-ended straight draws. And Constantine with backdoor everything and top pair is going to be very, very pleased against this opponent as well. I wonder how many fast plays we'll see him when he does decide to just go for the call, which is my preferred play.
Yeah,
See
like
it turn.
Constantine size, third pot on the double Broadway rainbow.
Oh, that's a picture. Another king. Not good for action, as Vinny will obviously dislike that, as he should. Lots of now rivers, you're not sure, even on an ace or a 9, whether you're going to be good. Very, very good turn card for Constantine, who should continue to value here. And I expect Vinny to mostly call. Although, this is certainly a turn card where you can get behind a check fold. It's just not the one. Too many boats for your opponent. Some of your outs can give your opponent boats. You have very poor clarity on the river. You're going to have to check fold a lot. Yeah, there's just not a lot of good things happening here.
Yeah, like in
as I
theory,
said,
Nick's
he
spot
calls.
on. Nick's spot on. In theory, Nick is spot on. We would be folding versus his size with Queen 10, but Vinny is Vinny, and he's got an up and down, so he wants to see all 5 cards. Oh, and he finds the 9 of diamonds.
Well, I think this will he donk this? I'm just not sure whether he will. Checking is certainly the better play, but you are going to be concerned about seeing checkbacks here. I think in this line, I would rather see a check. He does go for the shove. Now, Constantine's gonna hate this jam
Still.
because Queen 10, especially when Vinny's playing offsuit Queen 10, is going to be a big part of his range that arrives at this river. And I just think that Constantine will be extremely aware of that. Now, having a 10 does make it less likely
Only 12 combos now, so
that Vinny has has the queen 10. But usually you only see, why I prefer to check, usually you only see leads. He does go for the call, which you can understand because you imagine you can maybe beat some king X that just randomly decides to donk the river on a safe river. But honestly, when you see a lead on this kind of card, it does always, it's 12k pot by the way, boys.
yeah, 12.3k.
When you see a river lead on this kind of card, it always sets alarm bells off for me because nothing's changed really except the queen 10, which your opponent has in equal measure anyway, usually.
Yeah, usually.
So, and obviously the board favours the aggressor, quite a bit. In those situations, when somebody decides to lead anyway, they generally do it because they have the nuts. And this may well have been one of those situations. If you ask me what hands call twice and then donk shove the river, Jay, I think it's exclusively queen 10.
Yeah, I think it's maybe sixes that is worried about a check back as well. Maybe sixes that's worried about a check
Nine's
back.
not really a scary card for a position to be continuing betting king X. And in the situation where your opponent's going to call all of his king X and jam it for value anyway, you then take away all of their bluffs, which may or may not exist. But then you take away all that opportunity to win that portion of the pot that doesn't obviously it only exists in a hypothetical situation. But they're going to jam their king X anyway. It's Vinny.
Yeah,
You're going to jam your king 10, And in that situation, Constantine wasn't happy. You may have lost your customer as well. Whereas if you check, you get bluffs and you secure value from all of the king X. I don't think it's likely that Constantine would have value bet like a non-king on the turn.
Yeah, no chance he'd check. Yeah, that's the other thing as well. Like a lot of Constantine's range checks once the king pairs, other than the king X, which obviously want to build the pot. Especially for the size he went on his turn. On the turn, like he's not going to go 3/4 pot with say queens or ace jack. These type of holdings.
Completely agree.
12.3k, and never like to be biased in the comms booth, but I'm glad to see that one go Vinny's way. He hasn't run the best in all in situations, but nice 12.3k pot, probably getting him close back to level on the day.
Just another thing, Vinny just doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would find donk bluffs in that spot.
That's the key element, I think, personally, Nick. Like, there's just no bluffs once again.
Yeah, and people think, oh, this is full of these players. Everyone's doing this, everyone's doing that. But when you really get down to these very, very tight and nuanced spots, people still don't have bluffs because it's so difficult
for 4k as well on the river.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It still is 4k just to take 10 seconds and say I'm all in.
And think of from Vinny's perspective, your opponent, who knows exactly what kind of player you are, has 3-bet and then barreled twice on a king high board that turned trips for the king. A donk jam, you're going to think longer than 5 seconds to jam because unless you don't care about if they have a king, because it's so likely that when someone's barreling into you, Vinny, who plays loads of hands and people probably aren't going to bluff you very often, it's so likely they have a king. Yeah. So why would you donk jam as a bluff?
Exactly.
You're just probably not going to do it because, you're smarter than that. What the hell is going on here?
Well, Ramesh has gone for the send with the king deuce suited here. And he finds the duck on the flop.
Oh, Guillermo's having a torrid time recently. He needs to find an ace. That's not an ace, but he does have spades now, Jay. Any luck on the river as the dealer's taking an age?
Love it.
There's a 7 of diamonds. And Umesh thoroughly deservedly doubles up.
Yeah, so up to 5.4k. The king deuce going to be good for Umesh.
That sucks for Guillermo. Oh, you can see how much that one hurts because it's the kind of spot you wait all night for.
Yeah.
I want to say. And we're reaching for another bag. I'll tell you what, this would be a fun game to commentate all night. I tell you, I mean, my voice would be absolutely rasped, but it would be a laugh. As we have more chips flying.
Was you expecting this when you said you was going to come and do some cash game comms tonight?
Look, I heard there was going to be action, but it's still fun to break down. You learn how players play. You get a feel for the kind of things that they're willing to do and not willing to do, how they like to approach boards. For example, I didn't know any of these players before, but now I know Umesh likes to donk with semi-weak hands multi-way. I know that Vinny plays quite passively Even though he's splashing a lot, he doesn't really. I've not seen him, aggressively bluff any situations. He just likes to see as many cards as he can for as cheap as possible most of the time. And then when he's put lots of money in, he's had a really good hand. I also know that he doesn't like to fold because of that king. So, while it's not a normal theory-based game, it's still really interesting to pick up on the individual nuances of each player and figure out what the hell's going on. I'm not sure I'm quite there, but it's been fun.
No, you're pretty spot on what you just said. Umesh does love a lead with. Once he catches a piece on the flop into the aggressor, Vinny doesn't really squeeze too much light. A lot of the time when we see the 3-bet, 4-bet go in from Vinny, it is usually a night hand, but then we did just see the rip with King Deuce suited. I think that was a 4-bet rip there from Umesh. So every now and again there is that wild card hand. How you doing, Jamie? No seats at the moment, sir, and I believe there's a list, and I don't think anyone is going to be getting up anytime soon. Best thing to do, Jamie, go on the app, the Poker Live app for Grosvenor Casinos, and you can put yourself on the list. That way you get a notification when there is a seat available, but you might be waiting until next week.
And the only way someone gets up from this game is if A, they run out of money, or B, just the game just becomes a little bit too big and they're tired and it's too uncomfortable. Because honestly, I think Constantine get up. I think it's like MTC.
No, he's courts there.
Oh, okay. I just didn't see a stack in front of me. Yeah, so basically I don't think anyone's leaving this game in a hurry. As they shouldn't.
So 30 minutes to go, guys. Yeah, you can. There's no maximum pull-up on this.
You can sit down and match any stack.
I think you can do whatever the hell you like.
Who was it at the Vic that time when we had the 4-card PLO game? I can't remember his name, and everyone was sitting with like 2-3k, and he just pulled up 20k. So he's just sat there with 20k, and everyone else has got like 2-3k in front of them, just for no reason. But if you wanted, you could come and pull up the biggest stack. Good luck to you if you do.
Yeah, there's definitely a few matching, a little bit of matching going on early. I don't want to give the technical term that I would use for it, but it's something wagging. You know what I mean? When people see, oh, how much is that? Oh, let me match that. Oh, how much more can I have, Dina? 5 bags? Yeah, come on then.
Yeah, I use the term swinging
after
the work.
Yeah.
Not wagging, swinging, wagging works,
Yeah. Anyway, I think we got our point across as Jamie's got the 2 10s here. One of the best hands he's seen all night. Although he did manage to get about 9 bags in with top pair third kicker earlier on. One of our more interesting hands of the evening.
That was a good hand.
Yeah.
The ace jack and a mesh suited hand, so he's not going to be going anywhere.
Absolutely not.
Does have overcut to the 10s of Jamie.
And that does not really help. You'd probably need to see some sort of spade or some sort of pair to see a mesh continue here. There is a backdoor straight, but I'm not really feeling a float here. Having said that, we are going to see a float here.
Absolutely.
Oh, and he turns the up and down.
Love it.
I'm probably going to get a freebie.
Let's have a donk here now, please. Yeah, go on then. Let's have a go. Let's have a donk. This is a great game. I told you, I'm in his head now. I knew that donk was coming on that turn card. Little peel here. I mean, mandatory peel for Jamie. You can't fold this guy doing all sorts. Anything on the river dealer for us? Is that 6?
Ooh, it's a 4.
Well, I think you're probably going to have to continue betting here. The 5 can definitely have changed some things. Like, Umesh can have 3, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, King 5. It's not like it doesn't change anything, you know? And it's not like Jamie has filtered massively. He's only bet small on the flop and then called a small donk on the turn. Jamie can still, like, Umesh can very easily have, you know, a lot of hands, and Jamie's got a lot of hands like this that aren't in love. Has shown himself to be quite sticky though.
Yeah, Jamie, I think more inclined to call, more of a caller than a folder. And I think he'll probably pick this one off here with the 10s versus this particular opponent, getting 3-1, just shy of half from Umesh on the river.
I mean, half pot is just a size I don't like to fold to because...
One thing I will say about Umesh is river bluffs have been pretty small, like half the third when Ben called him with the 6s. He hasn't actually had too much value tonight on rivers, so it's hard to say whether he's doing the same with value or whether he's going big with value.
Generally speaking, half pot is sort of like a more bluffy size in these situations. The reason why it's really hard to fold here as Jamie, and he probably shouldn't, is because it's not because Umesh has got jack high. It's because half pot, if you're ever struggling for a rule, half pot means you only need to win 25% of the time. And now, can you honestly tell me, Jay, that Jamie doesn't win 25% of the time in this situation against this player?
I was going to show him as well. He said, have a look, mate, I got it. Jamie sees the bluff. But yeah, you're right, 25% of the time, more 10s are going to be good more than that.
Yeah, you just can't fold.
When someone's floating jack deuce, no, 2 to a suit, not even 3 to a suit, picks up and down, donk leads it.
The river's really good as well because it does actually eliminate some of the 2-pair holdings that Umesh could have had, like the 4-5s of the world. So it makes it less likely he has those hands. And there's loads of floated draws that now have, you know, nothing and have to bluff. So there's just no world in which you don't win 25% of the time then.
There's no cash game in Blackpool, Jamie. We're doing mini day 3.
We are.
So no cash game on the live stream in Blackpool.
Plenty of cash tables around though.
Ian Edelman, do you play cash Hold'em or do you prefer Omaha cash J? I'm an Omaha man these days.
Oh, you allowed King Queen of Spades in this game?
Illegal.
What a hand.
There we go.
A bumpy one over to Smith, who's got the dominating spades on the button. He will definitely be playing this hand. This is one of the best hands he's had, to be fair, all day.
He did that, kings and queens.
Yeah. I mean, this is a pretty good spot to be flatting the button. I mean, this is why I'm so surprised to see that fold with the ace-4 earlier. Smith knows that this hand is going to play super well. Oh my word, there's some hands going on here. David has got...
Dream squeeze spot, that's what he's got.
Will he take it?
I think he will. But one thing I will say, Umesh is prone to limp and plays limp a lot of the time pre-flop. He doesn't usually be first in with a raise. He likes to limp and then call and open. So that may be in David's head here, and he does just call. And I think that's all this is to do with the fact that Umesh is open and not limp for once.
100%. And probably a lot to do with the fact that he knows Umesh is not going to fold, and ace-queen is just not an amazing hand when you know you've got a lot of people behind. Once it actually makes a big difference that this flop is completely dead for Smith and Ben pretty much. It makes a big difference that Umesh is first to act. Well, after Ben obviously hasn't put any chips in yet, but he's the first aggressor to act after. So when he squeezes and Umesh calls 80+% of the time, it then gives a good price to everyone else behind who also all hate folding. Therefore, it becomes a much less appealing squeeze. If you catch my drift.
Yep. And it actually worked out perfectly because if he did squeeze, Umesh would have called and would have hit the 3 out up. But now, just expect hand to be over.
I mean, it's a mesh, so Ben is going to be like, well,
it's a mesh.
It's a mesh. The thought process doesn't actually often need to go much further than that, which is why I said earlier it's just so unfair for a mesh to have king queen, because it's literally just the absolute top of range, especially on this board. And he's just shown jack deuce on a complete airball float donk turn half pot river. That is a really good card for a mesh, considering his image and Ben's actual holding. This is nonsense.
Ben just goes for a small lead here.
Yeah, so what Ben is trying to do here is it's a very small, like 10%-ish lead on the turn. He expects to get raised by the king X's of the world. He expects to get floats from diamonds, floats from like 2 overcards above the deuce. So he gets to put in a little bit of money, get some information without having to call a larger bet on the turn. Check fold, I think, is my preference, but that's what he's going for.
Yeah, he's a bit of an exploit there.
Yeah.
Just knows that Umesh is going to make it known if he's got a king, and we can get value from worse. Not like on site. I play on a few apps, lower grass, a few apps, some PLO, a lot of live as well, but just mainly 6 card as well. I know Nick mentioned you play PLO 8 earlier. I'm assuming 4 card streets, but 6 cards I'm working with most days, which can be fun. Obviously, very swingy game when equities are so fine.
I don't really have a lot of experience with PLO8, but there was one particular time that lower grass will be extremely fond of. That I don't know if you know who Mark Rubberthan is.
Yes,
Weasel
yeah,
99.
yeah,
Weasel.
yeah.
He won a Triton package.
Yeah, I remember.
And subsequently won a Triton. But
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about that here. That's unacceptable behaviour. Smith's got the boots here.
Come back to that.
Let's come back to that in a bit because
he's
Smith has
woke
got aces.
So he's played aces, kings, and queens. King 8's once.
That's my boy. Keep it case for the love of God. He's going to be so sad to see all these folds because unfortunately for Smith, he's got a tight image that he wouldn't have thought he would have had at this point in the night, but he has had such garbage. And he'll be hoping for someone to play back here. Morel with the A7, there is some opportunity for fruitiness, but he hasn't been taking any of the spots that have been presented to him since he doubled up the second time.
Yeah, he's gone pretty snug since that double up,
Yeah.
to be fair. Hasn't been getting involved. And
One thing I could say for sure is that if... Yeah, it'll be sad to see the folds there, but you'll understand why everyone's done that. They'll think he's a nit, but he just hasn't had any hands. If the A7 had found some sort of freaky cold 4 there, Smith would have played pure calls there on the button 100% of the time, and he would have been playing in position with the aces with extreme equity. Anyway,
back to the Mark story.
yeah,
Weasel.
so PLO8. So to win, do you know what he has to do to win that package? Have you ever watched the video?
I haven't watched
I
the video.
thoroughly recommend you watch at least just the PLO8 section of the video.
Did
Because
he play for like days of poker?
yeah, he had to basically play for like 48 hours straight to win this package. But you had to win as many tournaments as you could in 2 days. So to do that, he was playing every tournament. It was like I don't remember what they were called on the site he was playing on, but he had to play every tournament. So he played some PLO8, and him in the midst of a 36 hour session, trying to play PLO8 and work out who had won what. He was like, his reactions to it are just absolutely fantastic. Why has he won here? This is a stupid game. It is utterly brilliant. Yeah, it was sitting goes. But Lower Grass will testify to this. It was one of the most entertaining, segments of stream I've seen when he was playing those PLO8 hands. And it was just brilliant. I recommend that you find that clip. Yeah, it is just exceptional.
So queen eye flop. Well, 2 pair for Amesh. Absolutely none of it for Jamie Lee. 15 minutes to go until the end of the day for the team.
Yeah, good night, Ian. Thanks for tuning in. Been loads of action here. Massive pot. See you over the weekend to watch the main event. Thanks for the comms and another Towers treble.
Boom.
Good night.
What?
You all
What?
laugh about it. You think
What?
it's funny, but it's not, because some people put their money on it. They have faith in you every week, and it comes in once in a blue moon.
It's look in the last one stream, we're 100%.
Yeah, in the last one stream, what we've done 15 streams this year, maybe 16.
Not been on results orientated, really.
To be fair, for 888 events, because the first ever treble that you got up
Yes.
was at an 888 event.
It
We're
was.
probably like 10% at 888 events, I'd
There
say.
you go. That T-shirt needs some new numbers on it.
15 minutes to go. We're praying for a big pot. We've seen a few 5-figure pots already today. Haven't seen one as big as what we saw on Monday night, but we're hoping something occurs in the next 15 minutes to close us out.
Ace King. Bag to go. Ooh. I mean, this is a tough, it's really difficult. You obviously want to continue with this type of hand in this type of game, but it's very, very difficult to continue here profitably. You either have to put in a cold 4, which this hand doesn't really love doing, or you have to cold call, which is really, really dicey. You'll be out of position. If you don't flop a set, you're kind of hamstrung. fold would be my preference, but I can understand why you'd want to see 3 more cards because you've got 2 8s in this juicy game.
And with the 100 straddle on, the stack depth is a lot more shallower
Yeah.
for this specific hand. So, like the fold there from Ben, it's annoying having to fold 8s in this game, but sometimes it's got to be done. And Jamie, ace-jack here. And same again, wouldn't like to see call. If we do want to continue,
please.
there we go, out the way. Smith's out the way. And back to Vinny with the 9-7 off. Is he going to have a little dabble with this one for £1,000?
You make it sound so appealing.
That's what we do.
9-7, £1,000.
What a bargain. The main problem Vinny's got here is, well, the main problem is he's got 9-7 off. The other problem he's got is that it's a bag to go. Another problem that he's got is that David is not that deep. I don't know why I'm saying that when he's got 9-7 off. I'm trying my very best here to cultivate some sort of reason why he'd ever want to continue here. It's just Vinny things, isn't it, really? He's having a stare down. He's like, imagine if the flop was 9-9-7. How much you got behind?
I think he just asked him to run it for the grand if they want to run it for a grand. So he's asked to run it for the grand with David, and off we go, which is fair enough. Rules are bent a bit in this game with these guys, so he wants to put 1,000 in with a 9-7 and run it. Oh, he's wishing he didn't now. Trip sevens and dead on the turn for David and Vinny.
I wish he peeled that 1k now. Although he probably wouldn't have extracted all that much, I imagine.
Might have got 1 c-bet from David and that's about it, but
Yeah.
the 9-7 going to be good.
That's how you know someone hates folding. Like, can I just see the flop for a bag? I've got 9-7 off. Do you mind? Like, just any. How can I see this flop without?
That's how.
Please.
That is how. That is how.
How often does that?
To be honest, some of the games that I play, and it's quite a common thing, when the pots get massive, like people will say, should we take like 10k back and just run it for that, or something like that. But like when it is a thing, or pre-flop, someone will have a hand that they want to see, and you go, we'll run it for a bag, or we'll run it for this, we'll run it for that. It's quite a common thing, to be fair to our. In the home game scene, it's a common theme. Don't ever obviously see it at casino because it's not in the rules, but home games rules can be twisted.
Yeah, this is a home game in a professional setting.
Basically.
Yeah. With 15 straddles, 9-7 offsuit, running it for a bag, and Jack Deuce floats on King 4-3 rainbow.
What about the 7k pot with 3 deuce and 10-4 earlier?
That was also. I mean, it's hard to pick one moment, Jay. That was just the most recent one that stuck in my mind.
Nothing could have prepared you for tonight, Nick. Trust me. When you thought you were coming in here, you heard it would be a good game, but I'm sure you didn't expect this.
I promised Smith a good game, but I didn't realise really, honestly, what I was actually
Getting him into.
Yeah. I'm sure he's thrilled to be involved. Everyone's just happy to be here.
That's the main thing. Everyone's always still smiling, having a laugh. Constantine and Ben are back. Good pals, them two. Both from Coventry. See them together a lot.
Honestly, out of everything that I've seen, I think the most disgusted I am is with the ace-4 super fold. Unless I misread anything going on. Some trashy hands going into the bin, and we'll end up with the same old customers going to the flop. King 10 off for Umesh and Jack 8 suited for David, who outflops the King 10.
Yeah, probably expect check bet call. All right, we're just going to go with donk. I expected Umesh to continue this one versus c-bet, but just going to go with donk instead.
Got to thread in those King 10 offs into the donking range.
Backdoor straights galore.
There it is. Look, how else are you supposed to have a king if you don't donk King 10 off?
There you go.
Come on. This should do it. David, very, very poor clarity going to river here. If you call here, like, what do you really want to see? It's pretty much just an 8. Anything else, a jack is just not that thrilling. Obviously, you're most likely gonna have the best hand, but like, you don't have the best hand often as it is in this action, and it's very, very, very hard to imagine a situation where you're gonna get to go check on the river against this player, based on what we've seen. Does peel it anyway, because what do I know? Apart from the whole cards. And the river is going to need to be one of those jacks or 8s, and it doesn't look like it is. It's a 5, which Umesh will be pretty happy with. Everything missed, and obviously Umesh has been showing some heart, shall we say. So, if he was winning on the turn, he's still winning on the river. And it is, again, like you said earlier, Jay, one of these small bets that he has been using as a bluff.
Yeah.
Even smaller than we've seen before.
Yeah. Basically third pot here, so the V would just an 8. And maybe the V doesn't expect Umesh to go bet with a queen. Maybe he expects him to start checking on river. And obviously he can't have a king. Well, he can't have a king in theory once he donks flop, but he can have a king in this spot because he's got king 10 somehow. But that's what's going through the V's head here. He just can't get to the river with a king. He probably expects him to start checking a queen at some point. So an 8 therefore might be good. And obviously 9-7, 6-7, 6-4, 9-10, Jack 10. There's a lot of gut shots out there.
Yeah, similar to the situation earlier, I just think I would call and be happy to lose the 70+% of the time I'm supposed to lose, and probably win enough of the time versus this bet size into this pot size to make me happy enough to just call, and I'd hover my hand over the mark and get shown king 10 and just take my life.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't hate call here. I think it's fine if he does call it off getting this
fine,
price.
Yeah, 100%. I think David's most concerned about here is this: you could, if you bet in this size, you probably can happily bet like ace queen or queen jack.
Yeah, all the other queen, even like his queen deuce, that's chopping with all other queens other than ace queen. So
that adds a lot more hands you lose to into the mix, which does reduce how often you're going to win the pot when you call. Just depends if Umesh is finding those. I have not seen anything to make me believe he's not, because he's betting way more often than he should in every single spot. So when you have value hands and you're betting way too often all the time, then you should go very thin. You should go very thin for value. Because
he gets the value.
Yeah, and he does get it. Because you know people are going to know that you're up to all sorts of rubbish all the time. So when you do have value hands, you just need to be taking super aggressive value heavy lines. Nice hand. 10 bags for Umesh.
Yep.
Rags to riches. I'm pretty sure he's quite rich already.
Very successful them two in life, Vinny and Umesh. Obviously at the poker table, don't play professionally, love the game though recreationally. And that's what I always think sometimes as well, although someone may not be very good at poker or not winning long term, in other aspects of life to play at this level, they must be doing so many right things, a lot of right things.
So 6 or 7 minutes to go tonight, and then that will be the stream. Back again tomorrow for day 2 of the main event. Let's smash the guarantee.
520k in the pot now.
How many day 2 buy-ins do you reckon?
18.
18.
I'll go 22 for obvious reasons. It's Sissoko. Ace 5 suited. Jamie, don't let me down. This is a Jamie hand. Jamie's been getting in the mix left, right, and centre. There's no way he's passing up ace 5 suited. I mean, and I strongly doubt Umesh is passing up queen 6 suited from what I've seen so far. This could be one of our last hands, guys. So I'm hoping for a little bit of
Red flop.
Yeah. I've not seen as much Smith as my heart would have desired, but I do understand that he has struggled for value hands.
But this is actually action for all three of them because Vinny won't be folding the backdoor nut flush draw, Jamie with middle pair and Umesh with the front door flush. It's not going to be folding, so Umesh continues with his leading strategy, leads into the aggressor after flopping a flush draw. Half pot.
Yeah, and certainly we're going to be seeing turn cards here.
Oh, Jamie goes for raise.
I'm absolutely in love with this play, Jay. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if it's because it's 1 o'clock in the morning or because I'm delirious because I don't get enough sleep when I come to these events. But if you think about the kind of hands that Umesh has been turning up with in every spot, it's exactly this. He's got way too many. We talked about this before. He's got way too many 9-gapped flush draws in his range.
Yeah.
So when you have all that many, your pairs become a lot more valuable on draw-heavy boards. Because if you have 6-7 offsuit and 3-deuce offsuit and 8-6 offsuit and Queen-6 of hearts all the time, then guess what? You're going to have way too many draws, and coupled with the fact that he's never folding any of them.
He's going to donk turn now. So he calls the raise and donks turn. This is the pot we've been waiting for.
Jamie has got an opportunity here to be an absolute god. He's played the flop. If I'm reading this situation correctly, Jamie is not going to fold this turn. Jamie's gone for the raise on the flop for those reasons that we talked about. There's way too many draws, and we know that Umesh is not folding even a gut shot, and he's got so many of them, and the flush draws. And this 4 does not change enough of the good hands that Umesh has. Not only that, it actually reduces them. 5-4, pocket 4s, all less likely now. And it's just a really, really good card for Jamie. Think about it. How often does Jamie have overpairs?
One thing I will say, though, how often do you see this line here? Donk flop, get raised by the aggressor, call, and then donk turn again. Like, it's a very rare line that you're actually, like, you're hardly ever going to see this. Donk flop, get raised, call, and then donk again into the razor on the turn. It does actually look super strong.
Yeah, but think about the board. There really aren't that many good hands that Umesh can even have here.
4 deuce, 4 3, 4 6, 4 7, 4 8, 4 9, 4 10. He's got all the 4s.
Yeah, but if you have that many hands, it also means you have a
I
lot
know,
of crap
I get that.
as well. And guess what? He's got crap. He's not going to give up. And I honestly really, this 8 is maybe a card that Umesh gets folded on because of the 6-7 density. He has a lot of 6-7 offsuit.
£3,000 on the river.
Can we just talk? This is amazing last hand of the day. Can we just talk about how absolutely Chad it is to show Jack Deuce in that spot earlier to him and then still triple off 10 minutes later
with Queen 6?
Of course,
because you're clearly in his head. Like Jamie's got to be thinking, what? There's no way you floated Jack Deuce, donked that turn, then bet the river, showed it to me, and are now doing it again. And that might be what actually gets this through in the end.
Yeah, very good point that Nick makes there. These two of you have just tuned in, wherever you've been, but they played a hand about 10 minutes ago where Umesh bluffed with the Jack High, taking a similar line and showed it to Jamie, so that's going to be in the back of his mind.
What a hand to finish with.
Honestly, Jamie is being absolutely brilliant here. And we talk about pot odds a lot. Again, this is half pot. It's been a size that he's probably used as a bluff.
This is third pot,
yeah.
even less.
Well, I think we've added. Yeah, exactly. So you only have to win here approximately 20% of the time. You need to just think about how unbelievable. It doesn't matter if you lose 75% of the time when you call this river. It's profitable to call in that situation. And you know you're against a player that likes to bluff small and is capable of absolutely insane lines. So there's just no way you don't win 20% of the time.
Yeah.
You know, it just doesn't matter. You go, call, lose, nice hand. The 4 on the turn, I don't love the donk. I just think that Jamie is... If Jamie calls here, this is insanely impressive, this line. Honestly, really, really impressive. I think he's thinking... I hope he's thinking what I'm thinking. Not that I want Umesh to lose or anything, but I just think it's a really cool hand.
Yeah, it's a great hand to finish on. Save the best to last, I think. And is he going to pay off this 3K river bluff? And he'll feel good if he does when he sees the hands. As Nick says, Umesh can just turn up with anything here. Absolutely anything.
I just think that if this turn had just been anything else, this is going to work really often. But the reason that you don't donk this turn is because it's just unbelievable for the aggressor. All your overpairs, Queens Plus, are just delighted. Your Jack X is super delighted. Not just because of your range is doing really well on this board, but because your opponent's range has less value hands in it and way more rubbish like Umesh is going to have. If he donks all of his draws on this card, yes, he's going to have a lot of 4x. I do appreciate that. But is he going to bet 3k into... He's just going to surely jam the river. He's got less than that left behind.
Yeah, that's a good point as well.
Would you not jam 6-7?
That's a very good point that you just made there, Nick. I agree. Like, value probably more inclined to just send it all into the middle for half pot rather than going for this third pot sizing. Well, it wouldn't have been half pot, it would have been 2/3 pot, but that's a good point to make.
And I think that honestly, even though it's like, yeah, my inclination would be to call. Obviously, I can see the cards, so everyone's like, oh, yeah, what's you call? But it's a pot odds decision against a player that's got way too many bluffs. 1, and 2, can you actually handle it if Umesh shows you another airball? It's worth 3k to sleep.
Oh no! Oh, he's
there
put
we
the
go.
blacks back.
This, wow, what a hand to finish on. In the blender.
Umesh got the moves. And is it going to work? Sitting there like a statue, slowly shuffling his chips. You're not getting a read off this man.
I mean, this is just utterly heroic from both players, genuinely. I'm so impressed by it. Do you know what? I hate the turn donk because of the card and how it favours Jamie so heavily. But it's because the turn card is so terrible for him, and it's because of the hand literally 3 hands ago with the Jack Deuce when he showed it to him. Who on earth now bluffs this spot? And I honestly think that is what might get this through. If it does get it through, it's got to be that.
Oh, he's
Well
made the
played.
call.
Well played.
And Jamie Lee is going to win the biggest pot of the night, the last hand of the night for us. 15.2k in the middle. And the ace-5 for Jamie is good.
Wow.
Takes a huge one.
I just want to.
Wow.
I just want to say before we're done, I had a problem with some of Jamie's play earlier with the ace-jack hand. I can definitely understand why he did it, but that was honestly brilliant. It was a lot of money. He was put under a lot of pressure in a dynamic that is extremely uncomfortable, and that raise flop, call turn, call river is chef's kiss. I can go to bed happy.
But that is it from us,
Brilliant
guys. Just
stuff.
got a new deck on, so we are done for the day.
Brilliant. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, big thank you, Nick. Join us for
Absolutely.
the old
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I
3-hour
really
stream. We
appreciate
enjoyed
it.
it. Enjoyed having you here. It's good laugh to have you in the booth.
Absolutely brilliant. There the chip counts from day 1C, 67 out of 288. Danny Pike, chip leader. Look at them names down there. See who you know and see if they're still there with the chip counts. We go down at the bottom. What was that? 22,000. That's going to take some doing. Getting back from there. John Mooney's still in. Chase has made it. Chase Wilson has made it through to day 2.
Yeah, Chase, 18 years of age, won the higher. Was it the big shot?
The big shot.
Chase won the
18
big
years
shot.
old and 1 week.
And 888's very own Vivi Saliba, after taking down both the football and the poker challenges today, will be returning with 215k.
Very nice indeed.
And I think she might be the only one of us.
Well, 215,000 for.
Where's Vivi?
No, this is the. I think this is the day 1C.
Oh, Vivi's in the,
this is-
in the
alright.
turbo.
She's
Okay.
got 215k. I
Excellent.
promise you.
But that is up.
Yeah.
288 today though. 288 entries today. That's absolutely fantastic stuff. Thanks for turning out,
It
guys.
certainly is. It certainly is. Thanks to Nick Eastwood, entertained us
Appreciate it,
on the sit and go, and then came into the chat for the comms for the cash.
You
Brilliant
enjoyed it
stuff.
though, didn't you? You
I have a
enjoyed the
great
cash
time
game,
whenever
yeah.
I get to come in the
Brilliant
booth.
stuff.
It's-
Can you tell Smith the Nick we'd like to see a bit more action next time?
Smith, if you wouldn't mind opening
Smith
things that
the
aren't Kings Plus, there are other hands than Kings Plus, lad. You can do it. I believe in you.
We will see you tomorrow for an early start. We start at 11:30 on the stream, and we're now concentrating on the main events here in Coventry. It's the 888 $500,000 guarantee that's been smashed. Day 2 and crowning champion sometime on Sunday. Thanks to Nick.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks to Jay. Thanks to you guys watching in the chat. We will see you bright and early, 11:30 tomorrow, day 2. Ta-ta.
All the best.